stand, boys. Time to make a choice. Time to find our courage. Time to be deployed. Make our only stand here. Make our roads complete. All we waited for now, past and future meet. Get your weapons ready. Kiss loved ones goodbye. Now our time is coming, and it is not the time to cry. Fight the war. Fight the war. Fight the war. Oh, here's why we're fighting. It's about the fight. Let the writers writing settle wrong from right. In the time of conflict, when the bullets fly, in the space of seconds, a life you cannot buy. Face the facts before you, face the simple truth. We're hopelessly outnumbered, it's tragic but it's true. Make your last formation, take the final road. Now it's time for endings, now it's time to go. Fight the war. Oh, fight the war. Fight the war.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm fighting the war because it's a Tuesday. Oh, yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Tuesday stream. It is September 3rd, 2019. We are officially into the first month of fall, although I guess technically it doesn't start till the 21st, but come on. I mean, like we all know the drill here. It actually pretty much is fall. I guess technically this is the last stream of summer, the final stream of summer. But it's okay. The nice thing is that summers come back again, or at least I hope and think that they come back again. So we will have that in front of us. In the meantime, there's a lot of good things about fall, and one of them is more channel stuff. And I am looking forward to what is going to be a very productive and fun and exciting fall for the channel, and writing and a lot of things around the edges of that as well. Let's see. Hold on. I've just gotten a breaking bulletin. Hold on. I just got a thing. What is this about here? Just a second. Okay, sorry about that. So on Sorry, just making some notes about a message that I just got. So, anyway, yes, so we are back for the fall, and I am looking forward to it, and it's going to be good times. Looking forward to warmer days. We'll have a pretty hot summer this year. Man, every time I see stuff like that, hey, good to see you again, Lee, by the way, I'm always just kind of like, wait, what? And then I'm like, ah, yes, the other side of the planet, where I imagine we're going to be getting, Sod in Australia, for example, is going to be telling me all this stuff about new work that's happening as they move towards the summer months over there. But in any case, we are here in North America, in the States, and this side of the equator, are currently preparing for fall to arrive, and as a consequence, we are going to be hanging out here and doing a lot of work as school starts. My schedule is going to remain pretty much the same. I did get a couple of extra bonus streams in here and there, and I will still be doing that on occasion when I can. Usually it works out to maybe about one bonus stream a month or something like that, or every other month, depending on how circumstances happen. But I have managed to get the new schedule almost completely in place. I tried to do it earlier, and so there are a few little, tweaks and adjustments that need to be made, which I will talk about at a later point. But I will say that if you put in the calendar, it is indeed Coven Guy. What's up, man? How you doing? But if you double check with this thing with calendar, then you'll be able to see what the schedule looks like going forward. And I will talk more about that in just a second when we get to talking about schedule. But before I do that, let me talk a little bit about ways to support the stream. If you have not done so already, please follow the channel. That is always very much appreciated if you can do that. If you have not done so already, please consider as well checking out the YouTube, which is !ArvTube, the Discord, which is !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. !ArvTweets will get you over to my Twitter, and !Tweet will let you retweet this stream, and please do that. It really does make a difference if you can retweet the stream and kind of spread the good word about what we do here to people beyond just our own Twitch community. And then we've got, of course, the website, arvanelleron.com, where you can find not only the Curse of Strahd audio podcast, but also details relating to the calendar and stuff that's going on the stream. On the financial side, we've got several ways to do that. !ArvShop will let you get over to my merchandise area, where you can get stuff currently for D&D with Infinity and Beyond. Curse of Strahd campaign is what we've got going on with them right now. And also, of course, the Adventures in Middle-earth stuff with TariToons' amazing illustrations and work. You can check out her work there by supporting us and get your shirts and hoodies and get your Inga and Robar and River and Tawny Bear groove on. And then last but certainly not least, of course, and we'll have Esper Genesis stuff up there as well. And then the last two things are both the Patreon and the subs. Now, one note about the Patreon, you will notice that we have slipped below 300, and this has been a very, very gradual drop in the Patreon as more people have shifted over to the subs. And I do understand why that has happened and that it's easier, but I do want to say, if you're going, well, which one do I choose to support? If you want to know which one that I actually get more funding from, Patreon technically gives me more than Twitch does. Now, that's not to say that those of you who are sub to Twitch are not helping, because you are. It definitely makes a big difference. And in fact, I'm going to talk about September in just a minute. But if you're thinking to yourselves, man, I wonder what these things, there is stuff that's unique to the Patreon that you only get through the Patreon. And the support of that is very much appreciated. So if you're able to jump on board and support the Patreon with !ArvTreon, that is very much appreciated as we hopefully can continue to push that back up. The other thing, of course, is that sub button, which is sitting above the video window, which allows you to subscribe to Twitch. And I see a number of you with those awesome sub badges and custom emotes and all that stuff as well. Now, I do want to remind everybody that starting today, it actually hasn't happened yet. It's going to be happening by about 4 p.m. this evening. So about 3 hours, well, 3.5, I guess. 3.5 hours from now. September will officially begin. And if you type in the command September, if one of you would be kind enough to do that, you'll see what this says. Now, this is not yet applicable until, as I say, 3.5 hours from now. But if you type in September, you will see, let me do that. You will see this. So 50% cheaper cost, still 100% Arvanaut experience. In September, you get 50% off any new tier 1 subs and renewed gift or Twitch Prime sub. So if you have a Twitch Prime sub that you're thinking about converting to a regular sub and not just a Twitch Prime sub, not that there's anything wrong with Twitch Prime subs, but if you want to free up that Twitch Prime sub to use elsewhere and you want to convert this to a paid sub from you, then you can do that 50% off, and you can do the renewed gift sub at 50% also. So you can, if you're going to, if you got a gift sub from somebody, for example, Coven Guy was kind enough to give a bunch of those out recently. If you have one of those gift subs, you can continue it for 50% off. And then the last thing, of course, is the 10% more bits when you cheer 10 or more. So, and gifter badges are cool, as you can see from Coven. But I want to point out that's not happening for another 3.5 hours, that 50% off. So that's why I'm not talking too much about September officially, but I'll probably put it on the scroll and stuff like that, certainly by my next stream when it's actually going to be taking into place. Still feeling a bit worse about it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Genly. Well, listen, first of all, obviously your life and health is way more important than anything relating to the channel. So please take care of yourself, Genly. It's one of those things that if people are able to support, it definitely helps us, but it is not ever a requirement, as I've often tried to make clear. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear about stuff health-wise, definitely, Genly, and hopefully that will, begin to improve in the days and weeks and months ahead. So that's the financial way to support the channel. Again, it really does make a difference. Thank you all for jumping on board and helping out. That leads us to the schedule. I want to talk about this very briefly because I want to get into our stream today, but we have got this stuff down here ready to go, and it starts as of Friday the 6th. So we've got Masters of the Dungeon coming up at 8:30 p.m. That one is still a little up in the air. I want to remind everybody, or let everyone know, that's still a little bit up in the air, Masters of the Dungeon. If that doesn't end up happening, then we'll just start Deus Ex Human Revolution earlier. Deus Ex Human Revolution, we are definitely in the home stretch. We've got the rest of this DLC that sort of got included in the director's cut to finish, and then we'll be moving on to the rest of the game. But that is, Deus Ex is going to be following up with Masters of the Dungeon. If that happens, again, not 100% sure. What is certain, though, is that most of the rest of the month is taken care of. D&D with Infinity and Beyond Curse of Strahd will be Saturday the 7th. On Tuesday the 10th, we have Adventures in Middle-earth returns, as that campaign is definitely picked up. Think snakes in a chest, right? And then we've got more Pen and Pixels Pathfinder Kingmaker. Thursday the 12th returns Emberwind to us, which will be great. Friday the 13th, spooky. We've got Esper Genesis, and I think there's nothing better to describe basically what the party is definitely going through right now with biohorrors than a Friday the 13th stream. So that's what we've got going on Friday. Then Saturday the 14th will be a mini marathon session of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Been having fun with that game. Then Tuesday, back to Wilderland Adventures AME. Pen and Pixels D&D with GOG will be happening Tuesday the 17th. Thursday the 19th, we've got the Rambo Academy for Wayward Writers. Cat Rambo returns with her next class. Friday will be the second Esper Genesis session of the month, and we should, I think, have a full crew for both of those days, 13th and 20th, so that'll be cool. Saturday the 21st, D&D with INB Curse of Strahd, and I expect a couple of surprises for you folks in Curse of Strahd this month, by the way, so you'll definitely want to check that out. Monday the 23rd, Hearts of Wulin will make its return, our wuxia-inspired show with Lowell Francis and the amazing team of Joyce Chung, Mike Underwood, Sod, and Joyce Chung, Mark Underwood, Sod, and Cat Rambo. I was just thinking about Cat as I was looking somewhere else, so they will be returning on Monday the 23rd. Tuesday the 24th, we have the Patreon-fueled chat-chosen game of the month, and then we've got Pen and Pixels again with Pathfinder Kingmaker. Second Emberwind session, Thursday the 26th. Friday, we will wrap Deus Ex Human Revolution. If we have not already, we will definitely wrap it then. Saturday the 28th currently is the Our Vocalists, but that might get moved to another Tuesday evening. It depends on how things all break down. We will see. That might get moved, so just be aware that that's possible. It'll get moved around a little bit. And that will wrap up September. So it looks like a busy September. There's going to be a lot of awesome stuff happening, and I can't wait for it all to occur. But today, we get started with the return of something which we were not able to do last month, but I am very excited to have this month. And so I bring back, I unmute myself so she knows we're ready to go, and then I'm going to unmute her, and then I'm going to move over to a good friend and a wonderful illustrator, and that, of course, is Bob Ross. No, I'm kidding. That's not actually Bob Ross. That, in fact, is the wonderful TariToons, who you always see either here or you see playing Inga, daughter of Ida. But today, she is not playing a dwarf. Today, she is playing Or that's true, you don't see her. Well, you see for Inga you do, but today you don't see her. Instead, you just see the wonderful illustration there, and it's my pleasure to have TariToons back. Welcome, Terry. How are you? How's life at the universe? I assume that the heat wave has now passed in Germany,
Yes.
so it's okay.
It's suddenly autumn out
Okay.
of nowhere.
We just
Like
gave the
last
light
week
summer a
we were
miss, right?
dying of summer heat, and this week it's long sleeves and long trousers time.
Yeah.
It's overnight. I'm just like expecting everybody to get the flu now, because everybody will be dressed inappropriately for the sudden weather change.
Yep. They're just gonna like run into the brick wall of what? Like, why are we in the middle of autumn? Yeah, I feel like that's been happening with spring into summer too. I feel like you come out of winter and it's just like winter, summer, and you're like, what happened to spring? Like, where did spring go? So I feel like that happens a lot. So, how has life been though? Otherwise, besides the heat?
Oh, pretty good. Spent a lot of time in the Netherlands. Also, secret, but I might be getting a baby cat soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so great. Like, my boyfriend's family is huge. He has like a billion aunts and uncles, and one of his uncles is a vet or something like that. And they found some abandoned baby kittens, only like a few weeks old, and they are now raising them, and then they are giving 2 of them away. And I said, yo, give me.
That's gonna be the thing. That's nice. So you know what the cat looks like, or no?
Yes,
You know?
yes. Well, there are like 2 for debate that I might get. Like one of them, they already promised to somebody else 3 kittens. But
So you're gonna be getting a cat. Wow. So that means cat
I
cam.
might, like, if I get lucky, I'll get a cat, because they don't get to decide themselves who gets the cats, because they do this on behalf of the local animal shelter.
Ah. Well, okay. So
But
that
like
means
they get like a lot to say in this, but like they don't have the last word, basically.
okay. Well, you're gonna have to let me know, because that means obviously we'll have to make room for cat cam, because
Yes.
that listen, I'd like our numbers would just if we could get our numbers up by 100 per stream, which immediately happens when a cat arrives. Like that's how that goes. The internet is for cats and for other things, but for cats mostly.
On Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's very exciting though. I hope that works out. I will sit here still being jealous about not being able to have an animal myself because of my wife's allergies. Although I heard that they have actually scientists are working now through. They think there is a good chance that they will have in the next few years even a vaccine for pet allergies, and it's not a vaccine for the human, it's a vaccine for the pet. You can actually give this vaccine to the cat, I believe is what they were talking about, and it reduces the amount of allergens the cat produces by some enormous percentage, by like 80% or something.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, and there's like no harm to the animal. It only lasts 6 months, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it's no harm to the animal, and it obviously would make it possible for more people to enjoy pets. So I'm rooting hard for that because I miss my dog. I miss having a dog terribly, and but my wife's allergies are just not. I don't want. I'd like my wife to be able to breathe, so we need to be able to sort of deal with that. It's just really not good. So, but maybe having this would make that possible. So I hope so. I hope we can.
Well, I mean, there are also already like certain breeds of animals that are what do you call that?
Yeah, hypoallergenic, but they're not. They honestly, unless they are hairless, there are really not hypoallergenic breeds.
Sphinx cat and call it Gollum.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like the Mexican hairless dog, which is just kind of like you're a shaved dog. Like don't pretend that you're an actual dog. And they're like, no, we have no fur. I'm like, no, you're not a dog. Anyway, but yeah, it's so there's no real hypoallergenic dog in my wife's experience, and so I obviously have to, defer to her actually being able to breathe and stuff. But so hopefully we'll see what that happens. So that's exciting. I am very happy to hear that about the possible cat, and I'm happy to have you back on board with Lady Abigail Esther Hezzy Smith.
Yes.
As you are drawing that right now. So.
So, like, for information, so I've been doing 2 things lately, and that is playing Phoenix Wright and watching My Hero Academia. So, for those of you who know anything about art things, so these 2 things are now shining slightly through in this drawing, because that's how I roll. Like, when I
nice
certain type of media, it always kind of reflects.
So I assume she's going to say, you have a speech bubble saying "hold it" up there, or like objection.
No,
course.
for hold it, she would need to slam her hands on the table, but there's no table. So.
That's true. It'd just be objection. Well, that's the we've been actually doing that with my voiceover team. Has been doing the Ace Attorney stuff, and man, they're so much fun to do that way. Although one of their quirks is the fact that they really. You see where they're going sometimes once you figure out the aspects of the mystery. It takes them forever to actually get there. They're like,
oh, really?
Really? How about this? How about this? How about that? Like, yes, I get it. Oh, for the love of God.
I already figured it out.
You know?
Some evidence already. And it's like, nope.
And then you can't present the evidence because it's like, no, you haven't done the 5 interim steps yet. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, what's up, Day _ Good to see you. So anyway, okay, let's talk soundtrack today.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm pulling up my classic Sherlock Holmes OST. Let's see.
Wait, what is the name of the book?
This is The Honor of the Yorkshire Light Artillery.
So, like, military music would also work?
True. That's true, actually. Victorian
Shake things up for once.
military music. That's a good call. Ah, here we go.
Oh.
Epic compilation Team Punk. That sounds cool, but no, it's not quite right. British military marches. Is it going to make anyone feel uncomfortable if you've been colonized by the British in your country's history, which is like 90% of all the world? You may feel uncomfortable, but just remember, this is no longer true. Okay. What I'm about to, if you've been watching, if you had to watch any of the parliamentary results today, including the amazing sight of Boris Johnson talking about his plan for Brexit as one of his own party members crossed over the Hall of Parliament to sit with the Liberal Democrats, thus depriving his government of its majority. That was the coolest thing ever.
Greg,
literally as he's talking.
You are drifting off again. This is turning into political debate again.
No, I'm not. I was just pointing out that that's a good thing. So anyway, British military marches is the one that I'm looking at. I'll put a link in Zoom so you can see it.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah. There it is. Some fife and drum. You actually own a tin whistle and you can even play it? Really? Yes, I have read Descartes' work. And he is interesting. Any of the French philosophers are interesting if you can figure out what the hell they're talking about, because sometimes they don't even make sense in French, as my mother once told me. All right, let's play this up. Oh, perfect. We're doing the same thing. All right, this is perfect. All right, so chat, as you may remember, if you were here last time, Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith is investigating on behalf of Sherlock Holmes basically a jewel theft, or trying to prevent a theft of some valuable equipment and items and stuff like that. When we investigated part of this, what we ended up discovering was there was this one room in the house where we had been sent to do this preservation, which is the place of the Yorkshire Light Artillery, basically, these jewel thefts. And there was an intruder who ended up escaping us, basically, because although Esterhazy Smith has many things working in her favor, she's actually okay athletically, but it wasn't her best quality, and so unfortunately she was not able to catch the intruder. And so as we get started here, we begin with the intruder's evidence. Hold on, let me turn down that military music. Not unlike the British, it tends to drown one out. Okay, right. So that should be good. Chat, is that too loud or is it okay? My voice relative to the British music? Are we good? It's good? Okay, thanks, Kevin. All right, here we go. And remember, for those of you who haven't done this before, you're going to be voting on what Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith actually does. So please keep that in mind as we go here. So, perhaps the intruder left behind a piece of evidence that might identify him. The bright moonlight will help in your examination. Now, here is where I need to ask people to to become a dice roller for me. So I need someone in chat to volunteer to roll 2 6-sided dice for me. Or actually for yourselves, because you're the person, and then share that result. We go on the honor system here. If you don't have any actual physical 6-sided dice, What's wrong with you? No, just kidding. If you don't have any 6-sided dice in your house, then you can just use a random dice roller that is available at Wizards of the Coast and things like that. Or you can use Roll20 or whichever you want to do would be fine. Also, what's up, Nonstop? But is anyone willing to act as the dice roller for chat today as we are doing our Sherlock Holmes thing? By the way, speaking of Nonstop, I have renewed inspirations. So inspirations are all caught up. That's not going to apply during our session today, but for D&D and Esper Genesis and all those things starting this weekend, inspirations are all reset. So we're all good to go there. So, dice. Do I have someone who's willing to roll 2 dice? 2 dice, 2 dice, 2 dice. And as a dice roller widget. Oh, I didn't even know that, actually, Coven. I guess that makes sense that they would have something like that. No, it's okay, Ganley. No problem. Can someone else jump on board, though? Anybody? Anybody? I just need someone to roll 2 6-sided dice.
Hey, you want me to do it?
Too much pressure to roll dice. I mean, Tari's welcome to do it. It's just Tari's got her illustrations, you know, that she's doing.
We are not going to do any more multitasking on this channel.
That's what I figured. I got 3 and 4. There you go, Coven. That's what I'm talking about. See? All right, so we add our observation bonus, and our observation bonus is one of our best things, actually. And so that means we have a 9. So, let us do that. You examine the window very carefully and smile in satisfaction. You discover several brown hairs caught in a crack in the window frame. The short hairs must belong to a man. I'll just leave that little bit of fashion misogyny there. Only 3 men you have met this weekend have hair that color. Badger Phillips, Sneed, and Grayson. Check clue H. Haha! So, you can escape, but you cannot escape our keen eyes. Person. Oh, wow, Genley. Okay. So, we gathered that information. That is good. Now that you have the gun room to yourself, you turn your attention to the door leading into the library. You try to pick the lock and quietly shake it. You cannot open or unlock it. The bolts on the other side would prevent you even if you could pick the lock. Satisfied that you have looked into every aspect of the room's security, you rejoin Watson and return to your room. You practically fall into bed, hearing Watson's comforting snores just before you fall asleep. All right. The footman bringing you hot water and morning tea wakes you the next morning. Terry, what kind of tea are we talking about?
Well, it's morning, so I guess English breakfast tea.
Okay, good. That's good. You can stay. You're right.
I like some black tea.
English
Earl
breakfast
Grey.
is right. Yeah, Earl Grey's fine too. Yeah, I just don't. These people, these godless, like, how about mint? Mint that, like, no. It's about tea,
What about
man.
peppermint tea?
Yeah, I mean peppermint's okay, but that's like when you're not feeling well, or like for the morning you want.
When you just love yourself.
Right, exactly. You like to get into a onesie, an adult onesie. All right. The footman bringing you hot water and morning tea wakes you the next morning. You rise eagerly, dressing and shaving quickly while you sip the tea. Bright sunlight streams in through the windows, and a fresh breeze makes the beautiful day even more stimulating. Watson is soon ready, and you go down to breakfast together. All right. Hey, what's up? Good to see you, Red Layer. And yeah, hang in there, Genley. Let's focus on the game now, as you say, but definitely hang in there, man, and please keep us posted if you can. Breakfast is the kind of meal one expects at a country mansion. Here we go. Platters of bacon, eggs, sausage, and kippers. I don't know about the kippers. Cover a sideboard flanked by silver pots of coffee and tea. Baskets of fresh bread and buns cover another tabletop. The guests talk little as they devote their attention to the food. Finally, as appetites begin to wane, the talk turns to the day's activities. You must join us, madam, Mrs. Dunlop says eagerly, addressing you. Everyone can participate today, whatever their abilities. We will walk through the grounds this morning and observe the beauties of my uncle's house and grounds and engage in a few contests of skill as we walk. After a pause, the lady addresses everyone. No one dares to refuse, does he? The guests hastily assure her of their participation. The veterans, Captain Leaf and Colonel Dunlop, lead the way once breakfast is finished. The Dunlops lead you through the grounds, proudly showing and describing many beautiful glens and sparkling brooks, until you come to a wide stream with rocks lining its banks. Oddly, several pans of different sizes are tied to branches of trees on the other side of the water. Okay. Let's see. Now for a test of skill, Mrs. Dunlop asks, signaling for the party to stop. This will be easy, she says, nodding towards the far banks. There are plenty of rocks, and all one must do is hit those pans. We begin with the biggest pan, and each of us throws 3 stones. Anyone who misses all 3 is eliminated. Apparently, Terry, every session that you do with me now is going to involve you doing some test of skill. Like, there's going to be something throwing at targets or something. Then we move on to the next smaller pan and continue until only one of us remains. Eagerly, Captain Leaf bends and tosses a round stone into the bushes well to the right of the target. Now, that classic British accuracy. The others join in, and you await your turn. Pick a number and add your athletics bonus. All right, so here we go, Coven. We're going to roll 2 dice, we're going to throw that rock, and we're going to see if we hit that pan. So make those 2s 6-sided again. Four and 5. I thought you meant 4 to 5. I'm like, what? Okay, so that's 9. Plus 1 is 10. All right. That's a good result. Actually, there is even one better result, but it was a pretty crazy result. All right. So, you display considerable skill at rock throwing. In the midst of tossing a barrage of stones that must have frightened every animal for miles around, you hit the largest pan with your first toss and the second biggest after 1 miss. Dr. Cunningham is the only other contestant to hit the 3rd pan. Now the competition grows more serious. You draw a deep breath before throwing at the smallest pan, your tension increasing when the doctor hits it on his first attempt. Hold on a second. Go away, advertisement. Thank you. Okay. Right. Your tension increasing when the doctor hits it on his first attempt. You must hit it to remain competitive, Mrs. Dunlop announces. You throw and are pleased to hear a clang. You take your second throw first, and the doctor matches your success. Down to the last throw, Miss Dunlop announces, clearly impressed. What a pair of titans. The doctor is first, she adds. With the easy motion he has used the entire contest, the doctor makes the pan chime like a church bell. You now feel some pressure and your arm seems to weigh 10 stone. Your last effort hits the rope above the pan, but there is no doubt in anyone's mind. It's a miss. The doctor has won. What? How is that a miss? It's an even better hit. You are the first to congratulate him. Then the merry group fords the stream and follows a trail through the woods on the other side. I wonder if there's going to come a point where, like, someone's ability to hit a target is going to come into play as far as whether they're a suspect or something. Because we got ourselves a badass over here. Okay. The path through the woods suddenly opens into a broad field. A line of haystacks crosses the field, and you quickly notice that some of them have various targets attached to them. Redruth, who is the colonel's groundskeeper, Beach, and several other servants are waiting at the edge of the field. What's up, Kerflop? While Beach prepares a pleasant picnic lunch for everyone, you notice that Redruth inspects a number of rifles. Presumably there'll be a shooting contest before lunch. Given the questionable skills of some competitors, Miss Dunlop begins, we feel it is safer to attach the first targets to the broadest haystacks in all Yorkshire. They should be able to stop even the wildest shots, even those of my beloved. She smiles at Harris, who appears uncomfortable. The guests are a bit hesitant to begin this contest, but finally Miss Dunlop takes her rifle herself and after aiming and squeezing the trigger hits the edge of the biggest target. In turn, everyone else but Harris hits at least a corner of the target. Living up to his reputation, Harris sends bits of hay flying from the top of the stack. Redruth, who had moved off far to the side while Harris shot, indicates that the target on the stack nearby is the new focus of contention. When your turn comes, you feel far less confident of your ability, even though no one else has missed completely. Pick a number and add your athletics bonus. All right, Coven. So we need to roll those 2 dice, and we need to try to do some hitting here. Truly English pipe tobacco. Oh, very nice. Okay, so we've got 8 plus 1 is 9, and that is going to get us into that range that we needed. That's good. Good job, Coven Guy. In spite of your nervousness, you managed to hit the target. The ladies are kind enough to clap. Then you continue to aim and fire as Redruth points to an even smaller target, then to a series of other objects. Apples, cans, tree branches. Finally, only 4 competitors remain. You, Watson, Grayson, and Sneed. Redruth's newest target is very clever. He hangs apples from strings and starts them spinning. You must shoot while the apple is moving. All right, we have to pick a number and add our athletics bonus. All right, here we go, Coven. This is a big one. Got to hit that apple. Another 8. I think, is that going to be enough? Ooh, it's not quite enough. Oh, man. Not quite enough. It was close. The spinning apples bring a mercifully quick end to the contest. Grayson smashes his with one shot while you and the others miss. You join the ladies and the other men in congratulating the solicitor on his marksmanship. Soon everyone begins to discuss lunch eagerly. It has been a full and busy morning for the idle rich. It is
You
late
can
after...
always straight up tell that this book was written with a male player character in mind.
Yes. 100%. Well, that, and you, a lot of times I have to make adjustments on the fly to be like, instead of being Mr. This, like be like, you know, typical. Okay. It is late afternoon when you and the other guests return to the house. With only a quick cup of tea to tide one over, everyone goes to his rooms, goes to their rooms to wash and change for dinner. The Colonel has warned you that dinner will be served a little early. Everything is laid out for you and Watson in your room. As you prepare for dinner, you chat a little about the day's contests. Pick a number and add your observation bonus. All right, so we need another roll here, Coven. A lot of skill checks to lead off here. But observation is our deal. Observation and intuition. It's a 4. Uh-oh. We have no idea what we saw. Mimicking Watson, you dress with the utmost care, hoping to look as distinguished as the good doctor. What? Together you go downstairs, joining the other guests in a sitting room for an aperitif. It's nonsense. We always look better than Watson. Soon Beach strikes the gong in the hallway, and everyone files into the dining room for dinner. The dinner reflects this luxurious life at its best. All the ladies are dressed in beautiful... Well, I guess it says both ladies, so I guess I'll say both other ladies. Are dressed in beautiful silk gowns set off by jeweled necklaces and bracelets. The gentlemen wear either formal clothes or military dress uniforms. When everyone is seated, Beach and his staff bring in the first course. The talk around the table quickly grows lively, with jokes about the recreated duel to be acted out on the morrow. In spite of the lively talk and course after course of excellent food, you sense an undercurrent of tension, although you cannot discern its source. Pick a number and add your intuition bonus. All right, Coven. Redemption time. We need to get that bonus. 8 again. That's more like it. Okay, with our 2, it's going to get us. All right. In spite of the huge dinner you have eaten and its accompanying wine, you gather your wits and turn your attention to the conversation. Soon you realize that there's an advertisement to skip on YouTube. Okay. Also, you realize that the cheerful talk of most of the guests is marred by some tension between Harris and Colonel Dunlop. You wonder if the problem is serious enough to threaten the wedding ceremony, since you already know that the Colonel does not fully trust his niece's fiancé. Check deduction 9. Okay. Deduction 9. Finally, the feast comes to an end. It seems a long time before you can get your legs under you and rise to your feet. Gradually, the dinner party breaks up. The Colonel, Fox, and Jackson sit long over the port, each getting comfortably drunk. Harris, I just thought of the, I have become comfortably drunk. Harris takes Miss Dunlop out for a walk. The Mortimers challenge Sneed and Grayson to a game of whist. Seeing you standing alone for a moment, Dr. Watson urges you to join him, Captain Leaf, and Dr. Cunningham in a game of billiards. Ah, so now we have a choice, chat. It is our first real choice of the day. And the question is, can Arv keep his book from falling apart?
No.
And the answer is no. All right, just give me 1 second as I get back my place. Let's see, there's that. There's this. There's this. And 302, right? Yes, good. All right. So, what should Miss Abigail Esterhazy, Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith do? Should she join the billiards game? Should she go outside for a walk? Or should she go into the library to read?
Like a nerd.
Like a nerd. Alright. What's it going to be, chat? $vote space. Billiards also has some different rules, I believe. Although I often get it mixed up with snooker, right? Which is where I don't think you have holes in the table. Snooker is just like where the balls just bounce around and you have to hit a certain number in a certain order.
No, you have for snooker.
I think that's right, isn't it? I don't think so.
I had to watch that with my grandparents all the time when I was a kid.
I was gonna say I didn't know you were a big
I was
snooker
like,
fan.
something excited gotta happen. So, oh, he accidentally hit the black ball. No, that's not supposed to.
That's so funny. Oh man, I remember visiting my grandmother in Florida, and she was about 20 minutes from Disney World, but she didn't drive, and so I ended up spending the whole week basically in her retirement complex, where you're not even allowed to play shuffleboard because I was a minor. So apparently minors were not allowed to play shuffleboard in Florida. So I just had to like stand and watch old people playing shuffleboard. It was not the optimal time for a 9-year-old or whatever I was. Oh man.
Awesome.
Okay, so we've got 2 votes for going to the library, read, and join the billiards game and go outside for a walk are tied at 1 each. Interesting. This is reflecting chat's personal interests, I think. To be clear, I know who wants what. Now's the time, though. Jump on board if you want to make a decision about what she does. Right now, we're looking at going into the library to read, like a nerd, and I will last call that. I guess we should have known that when we said it was, this person's a nerd, we should have realized that that was going to be the last straw. People are going to be like, well, we are nerds. What? Got a problem with that?
Yes, time to shove everybody into a locker. It's one
Yeah,
single
exactly.
locker, everybody.
Exactly. 1 locker per person.
Which always confused me when I saw those movies as a kid, because, like, first of all, lockers are not really super a thing here.
Oh.
And, like, even if you have lockers, they're, like, tiny. Just you can fit, like, a few books in there.
Ours weren't.
And pure art
Can
supplies.
confirm. Was shoved into a locker myself. I was never shut in it. I was just pushed into it, basically. But they never shut the door.
Well, that's because you're a nerd.
Because I was a nerd. I went, listen, you're pretty much right at the time. That's exactly what it was. Well, and honestly, oh man, you folks will see. There will definitely be some books talking about bullying. It was not a pleasant experience. Oh my God, stop with the ads, YouTube.
A book about bullying.
Well,
That sounds
it's
nerdy.
not only about it, but it's no, I mean I was bullied badly as a kid. It had a not a good effect on my childhood at all. So I am in fact going to be writing about something that ties into that quite a bit. Not a fan of bullies ever. So, and I think the bullies of childhood become the Donald Trumps of today. So I think it's important to nip them in the bud.
He's talking about politics again.
I won't. I was just bringing that up. Pool and snooker are both billiards. Pool is pocket billiards and snooker is no pocket. Okay. Gotcha. All right. We are going to close the poll as we have gone into the library to read. Exactly, Red Lear. Well, I assume that Canada doesn't have any bullies. I assume that you just legislate them out of existence, right? Like bullies, I imagine, bully you and then apologize immediately. And they're like, I'm sorry I did that. Here, have some syrup. Right? Oh, man. Okay, so go into the library to read. Where are we? Sadly, they exist everywhere. Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry to hear it, but it doesn't surprise me. Okay. You decide to spend the evening in the library to be certain of the safety of the eagle. Remember, we're trying to protect that jeweled eagle from being stolen. There is a comfortable chair in a corner hidden from the hall entrance by shelves that jut from the wall. You examine the shelves until you find a book Watson recommended to you, Dawns and Departures of a Soldier's Life, and settle down to read it. You bury yourself in the book and the evening seems to fly by. It is past 10 when you hear voices from the hallway, spelled here wrong in the book, and 2 men enter the room. You sit quietly, wondering if you might learn something of interest. That eagle is a torment to me, Jackson, you hear Grayson say. If I owned such a trinket, I could raise all the cash that I would need. Think of the comfort and security that would give me. It's unfortunate that your father didn't have the sense to collect a few souvenirs when he was in India, Jackson says, and you hear their footsteps leaving the room again. A few minutes later, Watson comes in to see if you are prepared to retire for the evening. He glances at your book, laughs, and says, I told you you'd enjoy it, didn't I? Reluctantly, you return the book to its place and go up to your room with Watson. Check clue K. All right. So we know a little bit about Grayson's money problems. Yeah, I used to like pool back in the day as well. I used to have one of those pool cues that you could unscrew, like it was basically portable. When I was back in college. All right, alone in the room with Watson, you sit to chat, relaxing in a dressing gown and slippers. I'm not at all certain that we have a case, Watson comments between puffs on his pipe. None of our fellow guests has acted suspiciously to my eyes. Is that so? You reply, deliberately ambiguous. Consider them one by one and tell me which one could possibly be a thief, Watson challenges. His fellow Harris, for example, hardly seems to be a dishonest man for all the Colonel's suspicions. Okay, we did not check deduction 6, so we'll just let that go by. Having met the man, Watson continues, I cannot support the Colonel's suspicions of Harris at all. He seems a very pleasant young fellow, spending the weekend here with his charming fiancée. A young man in love would hardly rob his fiancée's family, even if he were a thief. You note Watson's comments, then say, You usually see the best in a chap, John. Consider the thieves you have known. Were all of them unpleasant men who would never think of doing something so uncourteous as robbing their in-laws? But Harris seems all right, Watson insists. I've seen him do nothing suspicious. And it gives us another one of those, if you checked this, and of course we didn't. So it makes you always feel nervous. You're just like, oh man, what are these things that we should have seen that we didn't? I agree, you admit. His behavior has been exactly what you would expect of a man in his position. I hope he is innocent. It would hurt a very sweet young lady if he is proved to be a cad. Goddamn cads. Now, for a truly suspicious character, Watson continues, you'd have to search far and wide to find a better suspect than that poacher. What's his name? Phillips? Come now, John, you reply. It is a long stretch from poaching to jewel theft. Perhaps, replies Watson, spelled in the book Watsum, but it is far from impossible. I'm not certain, but I believe I saw him lurking in the bushes tonight, watching the house. What do you think of that, cousin? And again, it's like, did you check this deduction? Nope. No, we didn't. Perhaps Philip's behavior has been a little suspicious, you concede, tamping this tobacco in your pipe. Watson seems amused by your parody of Holmes' contemplative behavior. When you are protecting something as valuable as the eagle, it is unpleasant to notice any suspicious figures lurking in the background. But it would be all but impossible for an outsider to rob this house. The servants have been employed by the Colonel for years, and Beach is conscientious regarding locking all doors and windows at night. Again, it says if you checked Clue M. We did not. So on we go. Well then, Watson continues, chuckling at your reference, does anyone arouse your suspicions? Most of the guests seem to me to be just what one would expect at such a gathering. I'm a little surprised that Fox should linger so near his former fiancée, but there is no evidence that he is anything but a scorned suitor. Dr. Cunningham certainly is a good chap. Watson chuckles, recalling their duel at the billiards table. Trust me, you learn whether a man is square or not when you play a 90-minute billiards match with him, when every shot is crucial to your success. And Grayson, the solicitor, is a respected man in his profession. You could not suspect him for a moment, could you? If you check deduction 3, and we did check deduction 3. I subscribe to Holmes' view, you answer. Almost anyone can be a legitimate suspect, especially if one notes something unusual in their actions. Regarding Grayson, for example, did you know that he arranged to be invited here? Otherwise, he should not be among us. Well, Watson says, a gleam in his eye, if you had the chance to cadge an invitation to Colonel Dunlop's table, would you decline the opportunity? I have seldom enjoyed so pleasant a weekend. If you checked Clue K, and let's be clear, we did check that. I bet this is where we're going to tell him about the fact that Grayson needs money. But I know this of Grayson, you insist, not yielding an inch to Watson. Before you met me in the library, he came in talking with Jackson. Grayson noted the value of the eagle and spoke openly of his own need for money. Now, such need does not automatically make a man a criminal, but it does provide a motive, wouldn't you agree? Your cousin declines to reply. I do not say that I suspect him, you continue, but he cannot be dismissed from consideration. Watson shakes his head, but does not argue the point. That's right, Watson, because you lost the point. You know, cousin, Watson finally says, I cannot name a prime suspect who might carry out the theft. You must ensure that no one can get at the eagle and not just guard against a particular individual. What should I do that I have not done, you ask? Well, I have one idea, he says a little timidly. Perhaps you could arrange some kind of alarm in the library, one that would catch an intruder. All right, here we go, chat. What's up, Erdenal? What's going on, man? So here we go. This one we don't have to do with the ARFBot because it's just two choices. Do we set an alarm or not? Should we set an alarm? And I imagine this alarm will be a poison gas trap. If that's what I'm thinking. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. What's up, Echo Alpha X5? Long time, no dungeoning nor dragons. What's up, Echo? Well, that's coming. You was just there on Friday. We had some Esper Genesis on Friday, and we've got D&D with INB coming up on Saturday. So we've got it coming on. And we have updated everything, by the way. Good to see you, Echo. So no poll here. We're just saying yes, no. Are we? This is just a single thing. Are we setting an alarm in the library or not? Are we setting an alarm in the library or not? Trap or no trap, basically. So Echo says yes, and Aridinel says yes.
I think I'm done with the first drawing.
Hold it! I love it. I love the cartoon word. That's awesome. And then, of course, the big. Is there a name for that effect? Is it just called sunburst effect or whatever? The lines.
Oh, speed lines.
Speed lines. That's what it's called. Oh, cool.
Or extra lines, but.
That's awesome. I love that. I don't know what kind of an alarm, Bob Bear. I'm not actually sure. I would assume just something to... it's not actually poison gas. Just something to notify us if someone jumps by, I would say. And it looks like we've got 4 people in favor of a setting alarm. 5. A large metal spike, yes. We clearly should set a pit trap. We should just build a pit in the library right now. All right, so... so I would say either... You've got one of 3 choices, I would say, Tara. You could either do the throwing at the pans, just because I thought that was kind of funny. Or you could do the spread where they're eating the amazing dinner with the 6 million courses of food. Or none of the above, because we'll probably get to another cool section to illustrate. So it's up to you.
I think I'm gonna go with the food thing.
All right.
After I've got myself some coffee.
Sounds like a plan. I'll see you in a little bit back
I'll be
here.
back in this.
All right. And welcome in, Tharzan. Hello, Esther. What's up? Okay, Punji Stick, Snake Pit. There we go, exactly. All right. So it looks like we're setting an alarm. All right. At your earlier request, the Colonel has already given you a key to the padlocks and the library gates, so that you're not forced to pick the locks to get in. You and Watson go down to the library and consider the best method to protect it from unwanted entry. Now here we're going to pick a number and add our Artifice bonus. Artifice is not our strength, people. So we have a -2. So Coven Guy, who is acting as our dice roller today, is going to have to roll high. So give me that high one. Arvidot's country, ruled by D&D. Amen to that. Yeah, exactly. Sleeping dart trap. Oh, man. Iron Maiden trap. Actually, crushing block trap. It's not a 12. A 5, huh? So that means we're looking at a 3. Welp. So I bet you just put up like a bunch of tin cans on a string or something. You think of 2 ways to set an alarm in the library. Let's see. Okay. First, you might attach a thread to the eagle, the thread connecting to a small bell in your room, so that you will know if anyone touches the jeweled bird. Or you might set some heavy objects on the edge of the mantle, so that anyone tampering with the bird will knock them over. By the way, why doesn't someone just put a bed, like put a cot in the library and just sleep in the library? I don't understand. Anyway. Or you might set some heavy objects on the edge of the mantle so that anyone tampering with the bird will knock them over. So, should we... What should we do? Should we... Should we rig the thread and small bell? Should we set the trap to make a noise? Or don't set a trap. All right, the vote is up. Let us see what we've got. Rig the thread and small bell, set the trap to make a noise, or don't set a trap. Let's see. Geneva Convention hasn't happened yet. Punji traps away. I heard it now. It's funny. Grand opening of the film club included pauses and chit-chat. Toy Story 4 to Toy Story 4. Toy Story to Toy Story 4. Nice. So how did it go? Did you have a good attendance? Did you have a lot of people show up at the film club, Echo? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Bob Bear. That's a good question. It's pretty close, I think, to the library. Skip that. Right, exactly. But that's a good idea, actually, Coven. Maybe what we should do instead is set up a rolling boulder trap. Since you said Indiana Jones, that should solve the problem, right? Oh, just the film club board? I see, okay. Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you had a good time. That sounds like fun.
Hello.
Welcome back. We're just voting on what kind of trap to set. It looks like Chad is going to rig a thread and small bell to attach to the eagle.
Oh, I was like first thinking of an actual eagle.
Ah,
I
yes.
was like,
And then
how
when
is
the
that
eagle
gonna work?
moves, the whole day it's just ring, ring, ring. And then the thread snaps because the eagle leaves. All right, let's see. Set one of the rubber screaming chickens under it. When they lift it, it screams as it inflates. That's a good one. I feel like in a Victorian era, after having some pleasant shooting practice, playing whist and billiards, definitely rubber chickens is going to be part of the part of the decor. Little known fact: those Victorian rubber chickens.
The rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle.
Exactly. I got to be honest, actually, the Victorians desperately needed more rubber chicken jokes, though, for real. Like, so many things would have been better for the world if the Victorians had just loosened up just a little bit, like, for real, you know. Okay, pulley is a must. Exactly. All right, we're going to last call this. It looks like Chad is looking towards that rigging the thread and small bell. A snake pit. Yes. Dramatic
Okay,
military.
back to work. So, food, right? Can you describe the scene to me again?
Yes, if I can find it. I know there were plates of bacon, sausage, kippers,
I don't know.
fresh
what
bread,
kippers
and
are.
buns. Kippers are like little fish.
Wait.
Like I don't think they're as small as like anchovies, but like basically like smoked fish.
Oh, it's smoked fish.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks yummy.
Happy Independence Day. Well, no, we just passed Labor Day actually. So we are now in the States. But no Independence Day as of yet, at least not that I know of. Also, I'm happy to hear about bacon crisps.
Oh, I could also go for some bacon.
It's herring?
I haven't eaten since lunch, so
Oh, well.
yeah, it's herring.
Oh, the music is speaking. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Echo. Yes, well, I was talking about this with the British. I'm like, I hope if anyone has been previously colonized by the British, you can just, you know, pretend that this is not actually British military music. All right, and we're going to close that poll. So Chad is going to put a thread and small bell onto the eagle. Okay. With Watson's help, you manage to rig the thread and shove it under the hall door. Then you walk upstairs and take it into your room. You sleep well that night, for the bell does not disturb your slumber. When you go down to breakfast in the morning, you carefully remove any evidence of the trap. Okay. Once more, you enjoy a filling country breakfast, the sort to keep a woman, that's not what it said, going for the entire day if necessary. Everyone has come down from their rooms, and excited talk about the recreation of the duel fills the air. You notice Sneed and Mortimer teasing each other, a slight edge apparent in their comments. An odd thought strikes you. Could something go wrong with the duel? The recreation seems to have been arranged very carefully. As you sip tea, you study the others. Pick a number and add your observation bonus. So Coven is back, so we can pick that number and add our observation bonus. A spoonful of sugar. 4. Fortunately for you, though, observation is... no, that's okay, Coven. Fortunately, our observation is pretty damn good, so that is actually okay. Watching the others out of the corner of your eye, you realize from their actions that many of the guests appear very tense. Mortimer, Sneed, Miss Mortimer, and Grayson are obviously uncomfortable, and their conversation is strained and vapid. You wonder why such a highly anticipated event as the duel has created such tension. Pick a number and add your intuition bonus. This is basically where, like, this is Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith's constant, like, psychic, like, you know, the dead zone type of thing, where she's just like, oh, intuition all the time. I'm going to get some actual dice. Okay, yeah, we want to make sure that these dice rolls are as good as we can make them. Oh man, another advertisement. Sorry, this is YouTube with the stupid ads. Okay.
Head block. Oh, a bit drafty in here.
You're not supposed... You know that that's considered not, as we say, cricket.
Cricket?
Cricket, yes. The term
well, I'm
meaning...
not a fan of insects, so...
Yeah, not cricket, meaning basically that it's not on the up and up, basically.
Yeah, well, but you don't get to complain about ads if you think ad block is bad. So.
Well, I can say I wish that they would do fewer ads, and then legally I will, you know. I mean, I would prefer to be legal, but I just wish that they would do fewer of those. That's what I would say.
Well, I don't know about the US, but I'm pretty sure there's no law in Germany that you have to watch ads when...
Well, that's true. You don't have to watch them, but, you know, when I'm thinking about trying to play it on a stream, I got to keep jumping back and forth. Can I roll a d12, or does that have to be 2d6? I think it has to be 2d6 for some statistical reason that I don't remember, Coven. There may be a way that a statistician can explain it differently, but it's not... 1d12 is not exactly like 2d6. Adblock tracks you and works with advertisers, so I don't recommend it. Aha!
Well, also you can't get a 1 on when you roll 2d6.
Right, that's true. I mean, technically you could just add 1 to a 1d12 all the time. You know? Because that way you would automatically... But still, I agree. 2d6 would be better. Yes, you're doing a roll. You are indeed, Coven. This one is to see why everyone is so tense. Hey, that's what I like to see. 8 plus 2 for our intuition gives us that 10. All right. Thinking about it, you can understand why the participants in the duel are uneasy. It is uncomfortable to have a gun pointed at you, even if the weapon is loaded with blanks. Miss Mortimer is naturally concerned because her brother and fiancé are involved. But why is Grayson the solicitor nervous? He has no part in the duel. Perhaps he has some other personal or business problems unknown to any but himself. Check deduction 12. I'm getting a little bit worried about how much they're pushing the whole Grayson thing, because I feel like it's getting to be too obvious, and at some point it's going to be like, really? And there's going to be like some other completely reasonable explanation as to why. They're tense because they haven't had a nap. There you go. Ah, you Black Origin. Yes, yes, yes. True, true. Okay, so let's do that. As breakfast ends, you hear the sounds of a carriage outside. Beach jumps to open the front door to an older couple. Susan Mortimer fairly flies from the dining room to hug them, and you realize that they must be her parents, up for the day to watch the duel. As you go into a sitting room, Beach brings you a letter that came in the morning mail. To your delight, you see it is from Mr. Holmes. You settle down in a quiet corner to read it. Dear Sir, I have settled the other matter in the southwest. Having some leisure, I will be in Gunston this afternoon to pursue my researches into old charters. I would be pleased if you and Watson would join me for supper. Holmes. When you get the chance, you show Watson the note. He is delighted. Good for Holmes, he says, shaking his head in admiration. The man settles 2 cases that baffled the police for a fortnight in one evening. I shall never hear the end of it. Quickly, you tell Beach that you will sup out. In turn, he informs you that the Colonel wishes to see you in his study. The Colonel greets you warmly, thanking you for your efforts. I want to make it clear, he adds, that I hope you will watch the duel this morning. I feared you might feel it your duty to remain at the house. I can guarantee that no one would attempt such a theft in broad daylight. Aside from that, Beach and most of the servants will be up here, and the other guests will be at the duel. All the guests, you ask? All but two, the Colonel replies, eyeing you warily. Mr. Grayson is going into Gunston to send a telegram and take care, it says, no? Take care of some business matter, while Mr. Harris wishes to stay behind in his room and catch up on his correspondence. Actually, the Colonel notes, softly confiding, both said they would feel like intruders at a function so closely connected to the Yorkshire Lights, but in that they are mistaken. I definitely want you to see it. The man's passion for the upcoming event is almost palpable. Will we go to observe the duel or not? This one is not, you don't have to do a vote for this, chat, on official ARVBOT vote. You can just tell me in chat. Do we go to observe this duel, which everyone is so tense about, or not? Coven Sai says observe. Bob Bear says yes. Duel. Do we observe the duel and also set a trap? I just want to make sure. Can we also set a snake pit trap during the duel? I want to make sure we can do that. Is that okay? Yes, of course. All right. Okay, good. Can we wait? Unfortunately, we cannot wait. It would just be in the... There is the option to just not observe it and stay at home, but...
Stay at homes?
Aha! I see. Sherlock, you're not serious.
Pune of play on words.
What's that?
It was a pune of play on words.
A pune? Oh, wow. Sherlock, you can't be serious. Yeah. I'll be here all week. Don't call me Shirley. Exactly, sorcery callback. All right. If we can use the summer sword for this duel. Well, no, we don't want to destroy the entire house, okay, Genli? I mean, like...
Aww.
You know, the summer sword...
Boo.
We should be like, we solved the mystery by killing everyone. Like, that's not... Okay, so we will go to observe the duel by will of chat. Okay. You cannot refuse the Colonel's invitation to watch the recreation of the duel. Everyone, except Grayson and Harris and the stupid YouTube ads. There we go. Everyone, except Grayson and Harris, leaves in a group at about 11 o'clock in the morning. It is a fine, bright morning with only a few high cirrus clouds in the blue sky. The group walks through the quiet woods to a clearing half a mile from the house. There, servants bring out a long table and a light repast of wine, tea, sandwiches, and cakes, which they set up along the edge of the clearing. As everyone begins eating, Jackson and Colonel Dunlop formally pace off the ground and mark the spots where the duelists will stand. Fox, Cunningham, Watson, and Mortimer's parents stand near the center of the table. Prominent on the table is the case containing the dueling pistols. You notice that neither Mortimer nor Sneed eats anything, although both sample the wine. Pick a number and add your intuition bonus. That's very true, Coven. All right, here we go. All right, Coven, we've got to pick a number. We've got to use our intuition. We've got to see. We've got to be the duel. See the duel, be the duel. I did it. What did you do? 12. Oh, man. Plus our 2. It's a 14. I think we broke the book. Suddenly we, like, Moriarty appears in front of us, already handcuffed. No. After the meal, there is still some time before the exchange of shots, which is to take place at 5 minutes past noon. You remember that Watson brought the guns from the house himself. You carried the guns, John, you say, probing a bit. Have you checked them to see if they were loaded? It would be tragic if someone were actually shot today. No chance of that, he answers, laughing at the idea. I cleaned both weapons before I took them from the gun room, and no one has touched them since. Fox will load them with powder only, just before they're handed to Mortimer and Sneed. Check clue O. Oh. Alright. And I should point out, by the way, I'm going to pop up the cover image. That essentially is the image that you can see right now, which is the image of these two guys with dueling pistols looking at each other. Pretty close, at least. That's what it shows. Okay, yeah, she sees the Matrix, exactly. As noon draws near, you find yourself alone, glancing at the others. Fox has begun the talk of loading the guns, while the elder Mortimers are talking earnestly to their daughter. So, this is an interesting one, actually, chat. What should we do? Should we watch Fox load the guns, should we try to overhear the Mortimers? Or otherwise. So basically, watch Fox load the guns, try to overhear the Mortimers, or do neither of the above. So what should we do? Watch Fox load the guns, or try to overhear the Mortimers, or otherwise. This one, I know very well which one I would pick here, for sure. Oh, really, Coven? That's cool. All right, get your votes in now, folks. Exactly, Aridinel. Exactly. This is what makes me nervous, too. All right, I'm going to last call this here. Let's get in your votes now. Last call, last call.
One.
Cheers here.
Ever wonder if there's a better way to shop for furniture?
Oh, hi. Oh, excuse me.
Raymour and Flanagan.
Wow. Right.
Okay.
Where's your husband? He's just at home getting
Stop with the advertisements.
Is there a difference?
Never.
Okay. More advertisements. Okay. Geek Chic went out of business? Really? I have one of their tables, actually. We got it years ago. It took months to send it to us, and it was the most expensive table I ever expect to own. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have one of those. It's pretty good. It is a great table. It's not as... It has these interlocking slats, basically, that fit under the top, and the whole principle of it was that you're supposed to do that so that you can take off only a part of it. And that way you can have like two levels, basically, like the level where people put plates or whatever, and then below you can have the game. But in practice, what it means is that stuff can kind of fall through the cracks and end up getting on the game stuff beneath. So I don't adore the design, honestly. Yeah, well, that's... And the problem was they did everything custom made. I just think they had trouble with margin, would be my guess, Aridinel, if I had to guess. And also, I hate to say it, that may also be a sign of the times economically. These things were, when we got the table, it's something we saved up for a while. It was something I'd always thought would be really cool to have. And so it is definitively not a necessity item, you know? And part of the reason I got it is because I was so sick of having every kind of jury-rigged table under the sun that I wanted an actual, honest-to-God, good table for a change. But I certainly, that was actually before my son was born, and I couldn't afford it right now, and I wouldn't spend a lot of money on a table anymore, honestly, for that. So, yeah, we use a tablecloth for sure, but still, you know, when you take it off and use it for its stated purpose, it causes a problem, so. No, all that we had was the thing that holds the drinks around the sides, but not the character sheet trays. All right, so we are going to watch Fox load the guns. For the record, that's what I would have also chosen. I feel like that's just sensible, honestly. Okay.
We are all too trope savvy, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Watch him load the guns. You stand near the table and watch Fox load the pistols, looking for any unusual action or movement. Then Fox takes a powder horn and tips some of the contents down the barrel of each pistol, tapping it with the ramrod. He then takes a piece of paper and rams that down on top of the powder to hold it in place. Then Fox picks up a smaller horn, using it to fill the priming pan of each gun. The task completed, he carefully caps the horns and returns the weapons to their places in the case. Pick a number and add your observation bonus. All right, here we go, Coven. Let's see if we can observe what this Guy did. Right, exactly. I don't know. Whoa. How do I know that my 3-year-old was in here without me? I turn on the fan and immediately get blasted by tornado-style winds from the, like... Because he likes to come in and turn it up to maximum and then turn off the power. So my son was here, clearly. 10. Nice work, Coven. All right. 10 plus our 2. 12. All right. You are certain that Fox did nothing unusual to the guns, although he might have slipped a ball into one gun without your seeing it. Then you relax a bit. There is no reason for Fox to do anything unusual to the pistols. Even if he were culpable, he could not be certain which gun would be given to which man. Check clue R. Okay. Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal, game. Alright. In the interval before the duel, Leaf comes over to talk to you. I doubt that anyone has given you the exact order of events, he says, and I think you'll enjoy matters more if you know what is scheduled to happen when. You nod in thanks. Oh, wait, this is the captain guy. My bad. Yes, a shadow school for rogues. Exactly. The man will stand 10 paces apart, the captain continues, squinting in the sun. I will give them the word, ready, and then count to 5. In the original duel, neither man could fire before the first count or after the last. In fact, Mortimer shot as the second called 1, while Sneed shot wide at the count of 3. Both gentlemen today have been briefed to fire their shots at the exact moment chosen by their great-grandfathers. You might find it amusing to see how close they come to the exact second. The bell in a distant church tower chimes the hour, 12 o'clock. Captain Leaf consults his watch, signals for quiet, and summons the duelists. Are you gentlemen certain that bloodshed must settle your dispute? He asks. Both men nod and mumble something that you cannot hear. Then Leaf spins a coin in the air, Sneed calls heads, and Leaf announces that he has won the toss. The captain picks up the pistols, trades them back and forth between his hands quickly, and offers them to Sneed. The Canadian takes one, Mortimer accepts the other, and Dunlop and Jackson lead the combatants to their places. You glance at your watch. 4 minutes past noon. It is almost time. Leaf gives his instructions as he told you he would. I will say ready and then count to 5. You must shoot between the count of 1 and 5. If you checked clue S, which we did not, so... Yeah, good call, Coven. And yes, 100%. The duelists wait, standing in their places, their sides pointing toward the opponent to reduce the target, gun arms by their sides. You wonder what to watch during the duel. Now, this is interesting. So, will we watch Sneed closely? So, what should we do?
Well, I mean, with a guy like, with a name like that, he needs to be, like, evil, right?
I know, right? Watch Sneed carefully. I don't know, though. Mortimer is not great either for that, right? Watch Mortimer carefully, or watch the whole scene. So will we watch, do we want to watch Sneed carefully, Mortimer carefully, or watch the whole scene? And yes, Coven, because pistols frankly sucked at the time in terms of their fire ability, so they often did miss.
Or just didn't fire.
Yeah. Or, you know, backfired on the holder sometimes.
Or just imploded and popped up somewhere else on the world.
Right. It just winked out of existence.
Yeah. Now I need to do my best impressions of Grandma plates.
Ah, nice. Yeah, you gotta have like the little flowers on the outside and.
Yeah. All the flourishes.
Yep.
Flourishes and flourishes.
And a lot of crispy bacon.
Oh, no, I didn't draw any bacon. Like, I drew sausages instead and scones.
You didn't draw it, really? I assume you drew cheese,
Well, because,
right?
like, drawing bacon without color is a bit stupid, because then it just looks weird.
None of your excuses. You revealed your true love. It is. It is.
Well, I'm German. Of course I prefer
So
sausage.
of course you prefer sausage. I have to say, when I was in Germany, the meats in Germany were amazing. Like, oh man. So
I
good.
remember when I had many years ago, I had friends from Australia over, and they were very, very confused during breakfast when I served them like not like grilled sausage, but just like sliced sausage and stuff like that. They just look at me, but it's breakfast. You eat like jam and Nutella. It's
Yep.
not German like a meat over here. It's like you can, or you can just eat all the stuff.
Just to eat all this stuff. Well, I mean, you and I have talked about this. Like, German breakfasts were not my favorite. Everything else, lunch, dinner, were amazing, but like the breakfasts were a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm still confused about like that pancakes and waffles are apparently considered breakfast food in
They're
the
so
US.
delicious.
Well, they are, but it's like over here, it's like waffles are dessert food. Something you would have like for afternoon coffee
Right.
or like a snack in between.
You're surprised that
And
Americans
pancakes
would enjoy
are
sugar?
a proper dish, like
Right.
a proper meal. It's like lunch or dinner.
Right.
You know?
But you're surprised that Americans would start their day by eating dessert? This shocks you, knowing what you know of the
No,
American psyche?
No, not actually. If you put it that way.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting, Coven. I didn't know that.
Way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey,
Okay,
the
so
starlight in the morning.
watch the whole scene. Okay, I think I have. Did I last call this
I'm like
already?
completely off tact right now, probably. Because.
Oh, I just switched
Take
over.
place
Oh
at a
yeah,
different
it just
time.
switched over to old Czech marches. No. Nothing against the Czechs.
Like for
but-
me, it's playing like a March version of What Shall We Do with a Drunken Sailor?
Oh God, really?
Still the same videos though. I'm at like. Oh no, it's not. Oh, why is autoplay on? Best marches, 10 out of 50. Famous British Empire marches, 1500s to 1912.
Let's see.
Okay.
Need a longer
God,
one
what does
than
a
that.
scone look like? We don't do scones in this country. Scones.
Okay, I've switched to the British military music mix. I'll put it in the thing. Maybe we'll actually get fewer advertisements. Okay, I put it in the Zoom chat.
Thank you.
Ah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those drums. Being a northern boy, have you ever had grits? I have had grits, yes, but only because I was told you need to have grits. And they're pretty good. I did like them. I loved growing up when I was a kid. I loved cream of wheat. And my mother would sometimes make that, but would also make wheatina, which was the opposite of what I loved. Like, one is like just like eating sand. Like, wheatina is like eating sand. It's just grainy sand. And cream of wheat was French kiss. Just so good. But yeah. Do I know what grits is?
I don't know what any of that stuff is you guys are talking about.
Oh, yes, that's right. Actually, I did know that. Yeah, grits is part of a corn kernel. That's right. That's right. Cream of wheat is just a cereal that's basically like a hot cereal that you add water to, and then, so it's kind of like oatmeal, but it's not as rough as oatmeal is. It's more smooth.
So just fine oatmeal?
Yeah, it's like very fine though. And wheatina is like if you had oatmeal, but then poured a pound of sand into it and then took away the flavor and then said eat that. Maybe that's just my bias. I'm not a fan of wheatina. Oh man, because it was always disappointing. Because I'd come down and be like, yeah, and I was like, wheatina. I'm like, yeah, great. So, all right, we're gonna watch the whole scene. Chat says, okay, here we go. Watching the entire scene. You watch both uniformed men listening as Captain Leaf calls. Ready? 1. Smoke erupts from Mortimer's gun as the shot explodes. 2. 3. Sneed fires, having brought his weapon up slowly and smoothly. Then chaos overtakes the anticipated scene. As if actually shot, Mortimer cries in pain, grabbing at his neck as he collapses. A woman screams, and the men's astonished shouts add to the confusion. Pick a number and add your observation bonus, and you can add 3 if you checked Clue S. All right. In the shock of the year, chat, someone got shot. All right. Pick a number, so we need a really good number on this one.
Totally didn't see this coming. Nope.
Yep. No one
This is
could
a
have
brief history
predicted.
of B&H, everyone's favorite photo and video store. The year was 1973. The
9.
went to the World Series.
That is really
First cell
good.
phone call was made.
Okay.
Perspective. Why?
All right, here we go.
Draw the breakfast scene. I'm drawing a breakfast now.
You're drawing
It was
breakfast.
a breakfast.
That's good. No, it's
No, it was supposed to be a breakfast,
supposed to be.
right?
It was supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be dinner, but that's okay. As you watch, good roll, Kevin. As you watch, a puff of smoke rises from the woods across the clearing. Another gunman fired at the same time that Sneed discharged his pistol. What is happening? Check clue T. The plot thickens, people. All right, so do we tell everyone of the other gunman or not? It seems like, why wouldn't you? I would keep it secret. Do you tell everyone of the other gunman or not? This one's not an ARF-bot. This one's just you tell me in chat. Do we tell them of the other one or not?
Why is it playing Johnny I Hardly Knew Ya?
This one actually is London Scottish Pipes and Drums. I mean, technically this is still British military. It fits.
I think you got a different playlist than I.
Really? I'm on song 2 now of that playlist.
Yeah, for me that's when Johnny Comes Marching Home.
Oh,
Song
no,
of
I don't
the
have that,
American
no.
Civil War.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see it. Yeah, that's way down there. It is odd, though.
Yeah, did you just link a video or did you link a playlist?
I may have just linked the video. I thought I linked
Yeah,
the
okay,
playlist.
so...
That's
Well,
my
I
bad.
mean, it says British military music and mix in the front, and when it says mix, and it's an automatically generated playlist by YouTube, and...
Okay. That would explain why we get all these Civil War songs, which are very clearly not British. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. All right, well, we'll switch as we need to. Okay, so we have decided to tell everyone of the old... yeah, exactly. Was he standing on a grassy knoll? And he fired, and the bullet took a train to Albuquerque and then came back before it hit the guy. All right.
Did you take a wrong turn in Albuquerque?
The magic... Albuquerque. The magic bullet theory is so ridiculous. Okay. So, someone fired from the woods. I saw smoke, you shout, pointing toward the bushes. Watson looks to where you are pointing and adds his cry to yours. I saw a little smoke there, gentlemen, he cries, though the breeze has dispersed it. Hurry! We must catch the bounder. As Watson tends the fallen man, Fox, Dunlop, and Sneed join you and run across the clearing. The sniper is gone by the time you reach the bushes, and you restrain the others so that they will not wipe out any footprints. Slowly, you enter the bushes, searching the ground for clues. Exactly, Bob Bear, yeah. You begin to hunt along the edge of the woods, trying to find some evidence that might help you identify the gunman or locate the direction in which he fled. The ground is rough and wild. You find the task difficult. Also difficult, keeping advertisements off of my damn mix. There we go. All right. The ground is rough and wild. You find the task difficult. So pick a number and add your observation bonus, but we can add 3 if we checked clue T, and we did. So we need you to pick a die. Roll a number, please, Kevin, for me. 6 plus 2 for observation is 8, plus 3 is 11. And we needed 10 to 12 to get that one, so good work, Kevin. All right, we did it. Searching with great care, you first find a branch broken on a bush, and then uncover an ejected cartridge underneath the bush. The ground nearby is too hard for the villain's tracks to show. You begin to hunt for his escape route. Pick a number and add your observation bonus. All right, we need another one of those. A 10. Wow. Coven all of a sudden coming through with the numbers. All right. Nearly defeated by the hard ground and dense underbrush, you were almost ready to give up when suddenly your wife calls. Oh, wait, that's just me. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Haha, this is my stream now.
Hello.
So, how are you guys doing? Talk to me. He did mute himself. Hashtag not sponsored by Chipotle. Oh about. Now it's playing The Drunk Scotsman for me for some reason. Which is a great song, but like not entirely appropriate for this. Ooh, lucky dice. I wish I had some. My dice are always unlucky.
Hurry to
We
the
don't have
Jennifer
Chipotle in
J.
Germany
Jennifer Furniture
or
for
anywhere
our
in Europe, I
biggest
think, so
store-wide
rip.
markdowns. All rooms are on
Wouldn't
sale.
get anything out of
Our
that.
incredible bonus buys. These deals won't last. Plus, get reduced interest for 36 months. Shop now
So
at
Russian
Jennifer
orchestra
Furniture.
music from Red Heat 1988. Is that a movie? Because we can't do movie soundtracks here, sadly. A creative attempt of art. That could mean so many things. I see. But yeah, we can't do movie soundtracks. Only like game soundtracks, because for some reason copyright is weird like that. Really need to restrain myself not to sing along to The Drunk Scotsman. Because you guys are not hearing this, only me. I'm just gonna turn this off. Distracting. Birkenfeld. Wait, what are we talking about? I'm not following right now. Oh no, he's back!
Okay, I'm back.
Quick, run away, run away!
What have you all been talking about? What's going on here? Okay.
About getting sponsored by Chipotle.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I'd straight up accept that sponsorship right now. Okay, so we've got a 10. Oh, did you get a... Wait, did you get another 10? Wait, what just happened? Oh, there we go. Nearly defeated by... I wasn't finished, that's why. Nearly defeated by the hard ground and dense underbrush, you are almost ready to give up when a broken twig on a tree catches your eye. You approach the tree and find another broken branch a few yards away. Caught in the branch are 2 or 3 threads. Calling to the others to join you, you follow the trail, managing to keep your way by spotting broken branches and occasional partial footprints on the ground. You come to a cleared path, too hard-packed for any footprints to show, but in a hollow tree you see an odd shape and find a rifle. You recognize it as one of Colonel Dunlop's guns, and a quick examination proves that it has been fired recently. You start down the path, hoping to discover some clue that might identify the marksman. Check clue W, which is good. Pick a number and add your observation bonus. Oh, Image of Secret Santa, these are your lucky dice? All right, let's keep up this lucky dice then. Let's do it. Observation bonus. Power of observation, go. Eight plus 2 is 10. All right. These lucky dice are coming through in a big way. You follow the path, which leads towards Gunston, but there are no footprints in its hard surface. Just as you were about to give up, you find a broken branch indicating that someone left the path. You follow the only route through the woods from that spot, and in the bottom of a small stream you find one footprint. The slow-moving water has not erased it yet, but you know that the mark will soon be washed away. How can you measure the footprint? Pick a number and add your scholarship bonus, which we're okay at. So pick a number and we're going to figure out how to measure this footprint. All right, we got to measure this footprint, people. 5. 1 with 6. What? Hello?
Hello. he's been called again. Woo! Scream is mine again. I should probably save this image. Also, he should really get, like, started on, like, muting himself whenever he does, like, off-camera stuff. Oh, good call on the hair ribbon. I literally just decided that Abigail Esther Hazy Smith does wear a hair ribbon underneath her head, so she would have one. There he is. You should really like start muting yourself when you like pick up calls.
Well, I did. I just keep forgetting to mute myself in Zoom. I'm not saying anything. I'm not like,
Oh,
listen, that TariToons. You know.
Oh, and here was like, talking to the people in this.
No, they can hear you.
Chat.
I just mute
No,
mine.
about like how I can, like, I thought everybody can hear you talking.
Oh.
That's why I'm talking about Chipotle, because I was commenting on the stuff.
Got you. That's funny. Oh, they can't hear it. You can.
Oh,
Okay.
well.
Let's see. So. Thank you, honey. All right. So the number was 5, 6. It's not going to be enough. All right. So. Deeply dejected, you watch the stream wash away the footmark. Your efforts to use a straight tree limb in your hands to measure the clue failed. Yes, because that's intensely dumb. Why did you? You have lost one of the strongest clues to come your way since the shot was fired. Holmes would have found some way to measure that footprint. Disgusted with yourself, you return to the house. Turn to 525.
Contractors trust Anderson.
That was rough. Did pretty well to get that far.
In fact, that's why they choose to install them in their own homes.
All right.
Easy to install, fewer callbacks. Earn contract.
Forget about the advertisements. Okay. What doing? That was Neelix Storm. That's not it. Not when Johnny comes marching home either.
Well, a Scotsman clad in
And not the drunk Scotsman.
Yeah, I had that one already, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna turn this off because I cannot concentrate when that song is playing because I just have to sing along.
Exactly. Too much going on. Okay. As soon as you reach Eagle Towers, Beach summons you to the Colonel's study. Well, Dunlop demands fiercely, did you find any evidence of who committed this atrocity? No, I did not, you admit slowly. The guilty party hid his trial well. We shall have to find some other means to identify him. This evening, Dr. Watson and I are dining in Gunston with Mr. Holmes. I shall lay the case before him and entertain his suggestions. I wish Holmes had been here today, the Colonel mutters, but I know you will do your best. Move carefully, young lady. I will not allow a scandal to spoil the entire affair for everyone. You agree to proceed tactfully, and the Colonel tells his coachman to take you into Gunston. He leaves you outside the Gunston Arms. The first man you see in the tap room is Sherlock Holmes. Holmes sees you and Watson as soon as you see him, of course, and greets you warmly. You are early, my friends, he says, chuckling. Colonel Dunlop must not be feeding you properly. Come, the innkeeper has a private room ready for us and begins serving at any time. Then Holmes's voice changes as he adds, and you can tell me what has happened. The innkeeper leads the three of you to a small room where spotless linen covers a round table. A moment later, the little round fellow returns with your soup, and as he vanishes, Holmes says quietly, Now tell me, what has happened? Did someone steal that eagle? I no longer worried about it when I captured the culprits in the other thefts. Those two crimes were not connected, by the way, as you may have reasoned from newspaper accounts. No, the eagle's not gone, Holmes, Watson says grimly, perhaps defending your prowess as a detective. But the recreation of the duel ended in bloodshed, due to a gunman hidden in the woods. Holmes looks astonished for a moment, then says grimly, Tell me about it. You carefully explain everything that happened at Eagle Towers, pausing only when the servants come and go with the succeeding courses of your dinner. Holmes listens carefully to your story, then shakes his head. You have no physical evidence indicating who shot Mortimer, he says. You therefore must examine possible motives for the shooting. Well, perhaps I should suggest possible motives, Watson says, and you two can decide whether there's any merit in what I suggest. Go ahead, Watson, Holmes says, settling himself to listen. First, there are the innocent explanations, Watson says. Could the shot have been an accident? Someone hunting deep in the woods and firing a shot which strayed further than he could imagine? Or perhaps some part of the gun wounded Mortimer, eh? Holmes scowls, unamused by the good doctor's ideas. Watson, you are an unchanging star in the universe. You always find the least plausible answer to any question I pose. Damn! Wow. You watch Dr. Watson formulate a defense which Mr. Holmes cuts off. For a random shot to have been fired at the same instant as Sneed's is beyond the bounds of coincidence, the detective concludes. I believe that someone would have noticed had a piece of the gun broke free. Try again, my good fellow. Watson takes a deep breath. It's my duty to provide you with a little amusement, Holmes. Very well, perhaps our friend should choose among the following. Mortimer was shot because someone did not like him, because someone did not like Sneed, or perhaps because someone wished to forestall the Sneed-Mortimer wedding. The older Mortimers jumped at the chance to break the engagement when they thought Sneed the guilty party. Holmes glances at you, your body temperature rises. Which motive seems likely to you, he asks. Then we shall discuss the logic of your choice. So, why did he kill him? Do we think that he killed him because of hatred of Mortimer? Which, let's remind everybody, he's Canadian. So that clearly can't be right, because no one hates Canadians.
Except for everybody in America.
What?
Based on TV and everything.
Bah.
Like, everybody's always, like, shipping on Canadians. I watched all of How I Met Your Mother. Oh, you live in New York, right?
Right.
Is it true that everybody in New York hates everybody from New Jersey?
No, if anything, the argument would be that
No, totally not. No, how would you believe that?
No,
it's
it's that New Yorkers tend to sort of, if anything, New Yorkers tend to dismiss people from New Jersey. New Jersey feels very insecure relative to New York, so they always are complaining about New Yorkers. But you have to remember, a lot of New York people who work in New York live in New Jersey and cross over to New York all the time. So, no, I think it's more that New Yorkers are kind of like, New Jersey's like the little brother, you know, and New Jerseyans are always like, no, we're not. So they have a deep insecurity complex. I know this because I lived in New Jersey for 6 years. So. Okay, so what do you think, chat? Is it did he kill him because of hatred of Mortimer, hatred of Sneed, or because they wanted to break up the marriage between Mortimer and this woman that, you know, he loved? What about that war between Brooklyn and Queens? I think it'd be more Brooklyn and Manhattan, honestly. Queens, I think, is just there. Queens is really just an extension of Long Island, honestly. Oh, yeah, you know the problem with that, though? The reason they call it the Garden State, so get your vote in, folks. Hatred of Mortimer, hatred of Sneed, or breaking up the marriage. The reason they call it the Garden State is because it actually has more parks per capita than any state in the country. New Jersey actually has mostly beautiful areas. The problem is they put their main, like, passage through the state on Route 95, which goes through what essentially looks like the Mad Max wasteland. So it looks like just as you say, like a garbage state, because that's the way everybody goes on I-95. But if they were just a little smarter, like 90% of the state is, you know, like really pretty. And then there's some areas, like the 10% that everyone only sees, that is just not so good. Oh man, poor New Jersey. But that's one of the reasons that they're always insecure. They're always like, oh man. All right, 2 votes for breaking up the marriage. Let's get these votes in, folks.
Yes, let's break up the marriage.
Let's break up the marriage. Let's break up an official marriage.
Hark now the drums beat off again.
All right. Music is this? Oh, Over the Hills and Far Away. That's fine, I'll take that. All right, it looks like breaking up the marriage is going to be the winner. I agree with you all, by the way. I think that seems reasonable. The gunman must have intended to break up the marriage, you confidently conclude. He would have been able to find a much better opportunity to hurt Mortimer or Sneed if that had been his desire. And as we saw, the wounding almost prevented the marriage, for Susan Mortimer's parents wanted to find some reason to break the engagement even before the duel. But Mortimer's parents did not shoot at him, Holmes replies. Why would someone want to stop the marriage? It says, why would someone would want? Whoa, QA on this book. Why would someone want to stop the marriage? Fox was formerly engaged to Susan Mortimer, Watson says, but he was with us. He could not have fired the shot. You consider the question. If you checked clue L, and we did not, go on this way. You must discover who has a strong motive to stop the wedding, Holmes says. If you can discover that person, you will have your gunman. How shall I proceed, you ask? I can suggest 2 methods, Holmes answers. You might consult the records in the local town hall to see if there are any documents, wills, or trusts that would be affected by the marriage. Or you may wish to talk with Colonel Dunlop or some of his more knowledgeable guests. Good hunting at any rate. All right, chat, should we visit the town hall or return to Eagle Towers? So are we going to visit the town hall to look at the documents, wills, or trusts that would be affected by the marriage? Or are we going to go back to Eagle Towers? Right, you can injure both families by breaking up the marriage. Exactly. Yeah, no, I don't put any, there's no vote on this one. There's no ARVBot on this one. This is just you doing it. No, there's no ARVBot on this one. This is just us choosing between those 2 things. So either visit this, you can just tell me in chat. So Echo says Town Hall. Ardenel says Town Hall. I like that in the middle of this, of course, the eagle has been completely forgotten. Like, at this point, it's already been bought, sold, you know, melted down for scrap. Like, no one remembers the eagle now.
Red herring eagle.
Exactly. Well, the fact that on the cover of the book, it actually shows the duel, makes you think that it's probably not got a lot to do with, you know. You know what I'm thinking too? Because I think it's Grayson who's doing this because of all the things we found about Grayson. But here's the thing about Grayson. He's a terrible shot. So either he faked it all this time so that he could then prove like, oh, I'm such a terrible shot, I could never hit him. Or like he meant to, I don't know, like he tried to miss him so that he hit him. It seems odd that that guy would be able to hit anybody. All right, so it looks like we're going with the town hall. But that's just my guess.
Drawing somebody holding cutlery without any reference is really difficult.
Is she talking right now? Is that Watson next to her?
Yeah,
that's awesome. You visit the town hall and find the chief clerk. The small, merry chap allows you to look through the local records thanks to Holmes's note of introduction, but he can offer you no other guidance. Pick a number and add your scholarship bonus. Okay, we don't have terrible scholarship, so let's see what we can do. Let's roll that die. Let's pick a number, Coven. Let's try to find out what we can. $11. Wow. Someone's been hitting the books. Fortunately, you have spent time working in the Public Records Office in London, and you know how to search for the information you need. You begin to consult the indices of the local wills and trust funds and find one that lists documents by beneficiary. Only one document mentions the name Mortimer, the will of a Robert Murphy of Eagle Towers, a document filed more than 60 years ago. The clerk fetches the will and its accompanying documents. The papers clarify the case immensely. If Sneed and Susan Mortimer, as descendants of the original duelists, marry, they will inherit Murphy's wealth. Grayson, the solicitor, is sole trustee for the estate. The file includes papers prepared by him showing that he has invested the estate in a railroad he's developing. I told you Grayson was dirty. The information triggers your memory and understanding follows. If Grayson were forced to withdraw the capital to pay off the inheritance, the railroad would fail and Grayson would be ruined. Obviously, he has a strong motive to stop the wedding. As he was not at the duel, he could have been the hidden gunman. Accompanied by Watson, you hurry back to Eagle Towers and explain the matter to Colonel Dunlop. He arranges for Grayson to leave immediately. Pleased to have thwarted the crime, you happily attend the wedding 2 weeks later. Quick note that we were never actually told if Mortimer survived the shot, so I guess that means he survived. But even amid the good cheer of that ceremony, one thought teases you. What will you investigate next? A murder? Perhaps a kidnapping? You can hardly wait to begin. The end. Man, that was I feel like 70% of that book was set up, and then like the last 30% was like, okay, go, then this, blah, boo, and the end. Like, so we did it, people. We solved it. It was Grayson. But it seemed so obvious to me that it was Grayson. But like, that's the book. Like, that's it. Just one entry.
And nobody died. How boring.
And nobody died, I know. Well, it's because Grayson's an awful shot. And that, I think, maybe gets back to what I said. The reason he didn't kill him is because he's a terrible shot. So, but there was just so much evidence for Grayson that I was just kind of like, come on, man, it's got to be that. Right? Exactly, Genly. I'm kind of like, okay. But that's okay because we did it. So we did it, chat. That means that will be the second. I'm glad that we did these books, though. It was nice to kind of venture back into Sherlock Holmes and do that a little bit. While Terry is
able to stretch my Lolita dress design muscles.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, Coven, your Secret Santa dice did pull us through at the end. What's up, big boss? All right, so I'm going to save this. Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith. I'm going to save that like that. And, all right, now, chat, what we have to do. Now, fear not, because Terry is still working on a drawing, and we're actually finished up way earlier than normal. So, what we're going to do is we are going to put a poll for you about what game book we are going to do next month. And I will allow Terry to sort of, nominate one that she would like.
Okay.
So
I don't have any requests for specific books or for genres, and that is I either want to do the Forgotten Realms book or, which I've been asking for a long time by now, a superhero theme book.
Okay, so we've got superhero game book. So that's one option. And what was the other one? I'm sorry, you said before that?
Forgotten Realms.
Forgotten Realms, yeah.
Yes. Like, ideally, second or third edition.
Forgotten Realms
just
game
like,
book.
setting-wise, oh my god, like some of the setting things they did with everything that came after third edition. Why did they change Asima? Like, I only found out, like, in April that they also changed them around, and I'm just so furious.
Yeah, they did. Although I can't be too mad at WotC at the moment because the announced Eberron, which I love, so I'm so excited that they're coming out with Eberron for 5e. Oh, I love Eberron so much. So that's gonna be great. I can't wait for it. Cool. All right. So we have 2 nominations from Terry, and she deserves that because she is, an enormous part of this whole business. So superhero game book and a Forgotten Realms game book are 2 nominations, but I will take other nominations, chat. Also I will put in one of mine only because I happen to have these. So I've also got Fighting Fantasy, which we could return to, or I will show you the other options that I personally have.
And just so that we are clear, like, I will keep asking about either of these genres. If I don't get my will. Eventually
And I do want to
we'll
point
get
out,
there.
I do want to point out that I do have we're not going to play it now, but in the future at some point, I have a third one of these Sherlock Holmes solo mysteries, so in the future, we can return to that at some point.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we've got that are options that I will put out there. One of them, no, not Sagard the Barbarian, we did that already. Let's see if this is possible. Okay, so here are some other options, okay, chat? Choice 1, Car Wars, Fuel's Gold.
No, I'm not gonna draw cars, please. That's not gonna happen. Otherwise, I'll be maybe able to get one drawing per stream done. That's
Car
a terrible
Wars,
idea.
it's by TSR though. Look, it's by the original Car Wars. Look at chat is like Car Wars. They made a game book. They did. So that's one.
I will draw everything like Pixar's Cars because I know everybody hates that movie. So
there you go. I like Cars. I've always liked Cars myself. I don't know. Maybe just because I don't know. I've always liked the story.
maybe just because you like Cars.
I do. Honestly, like Gran Turismo and those kinds of things. Okay, so we've got Car Wars. Choice number 2 is, and I'm going to put these together, Tolkien Quest and Middle-earth Quest. Now, I have to say, this one I want to show because I figured Terry would like this, if Terry can look at the stream for a minute. I have a Middle-earth Quest Mines of Moria.
Oh, that's sick.
Which literally shows a dwarf leaping over like a, chasm in the ground or whatever. So, I'm going to put Tolkien and Middle-earth up there. I don't think she would complain about that.
What? No, Lord of the Rings is horrible. Who would ever like
who would ever
this?
play that? Yeah.
Yeah.
There is Super Endless Quest, which is Oh, actually, that's not even Forgotten Realms. The dreaded ghost tower of Castle Parstar. This must have been Greyhawk. All right, let me get rid of that advertisement.
I played Greyhawk once, and I only knew that it was Greyhawk because Vecna was name dropped. And I was like, oh, we're playing Greyhawk. Good to know.
Yep. I still have the Gazetteer actually down below. I have other Middle-earth quests too, Treason at Helm's Deep. I got a lot of those. I actually have 2 Car Wars. I also have Battle Road. So the point is we've got Car Wars. I'm so tempted to do this.
You can get a different artist if you do Car Wars.
I want to see Terry's reaction to this one. College football.
I'd rather do college football than Car Wars.
Wow. Okay.
Really, I have no practice at all for drawing cars. I don't remember the last time I tried to draw one. So,
do I really need to remind you of your skill? Do I really need to do that? Right. You got nothing for me. Okay. And then the last one.
Let me roll a skill check.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right. The last one, which is also one we seriously thought about, which I think would be cool, would be also cool. I have 3 of Way of the Tiger. So these are basically like ninja books where you are a ninja warrior. And I have 3: Warbringer, Assassin, and Usurper. And all of them are ones where, like, you vanquish evil and, like, courage and skill. And, like, there's ones where you have, like, battles against mass armies and things like this. So that would be kind of cool.
But these are very culturally tasteful.
It's a good question. Mark Smith and Jamie Thompson. I'm not sure how much knowledge they're going to have about that. Yeah, that is a good
we can
question.
do that one, and I'm going to give it a Naruto twist. Because,
well, right. That's...
I'm a huge Naruto fan, or I used to be anyway back in the day. God, it's so long ago. Like, Naruto came out when I was, like, over here anyway. Like, when did I start reading that one? Like, I was, like, 12 or so? And the show just ended last year. Like, that's insane. Like,
yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that. I figured that would be something which would be doable. Yeah, sorry about that, Carol. No. Can we vote for 2 of the stories? Okay, so here we go. So here are the options. So we have Superhero Gamebook, Forgotten Realms Gamebook, Fighting Fantasy Gamebook, Car Wars. I'll remove all the exclamation points. Tolkien Middle-earth Quest, or The Way of the Tiger Ninjas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, and we'll take the top 3. And then we'll have a runoff between among the top 3. So I'm going to open this poll, and the top 3 vote getters. I mean, there shouldn't be a contest when we're talking Tolkien, but, who knows? So we've got Forgotten Realms Gamebook, we've got Tolkien Middle-earth Quest, we got Way of the Tiger, we got Car Wars, we got a Superhero Gamebook as well. All of those are options. All right, so far, Forgotten Realms Gamebook has the early lead. I'm also going to have to find Forgotten Realms Gamebooks. I'm sure I can, but...
Well, there are some. I think we looked that up at some point.
Yeah. Now we get the... Oh, look at these votes coming in. This is going to be close. It's going to be a battle, I think, between Tolkien and the Forgotten Realms Gamebooks. There's slightly an unfair advantage because it's a Tuesday, so it's basically Tolkien Tuesdays anyway, most of the time.
Tolkien Tuesdays! Oh, that should become a thing.
Tolkien Tuesdays.
Yeah. Trademark pending.
I know, immediately I get a call from the estate. Please. Aw. Remember, people, when you get from the ARV shop some of TariToons illustrations, what you were getting is not Adventures in Middle-earth. It is AME. Very important to recognize that it is just tangentially related and has no direct bearing on the Tolkien game that we
original
play.
Characters, no symbols or anything.
Right.
Or names.
That's right. Just says AME on it and a bunch of drawings. That's all.
Stands for Arvanauts.
Aw, man, epic. That's what it stands for. Aw, man, epic.
Oh man, epic.
Arvanauts. Moving ever, right? A battle between Forgotten Realms and Tolkien, there are really no losers. That's very true, Aaron. I actually had a chance to try a little bit a week ago or so of the Neverwinter MMO, which was kind of fun because I just to sort of get a sense of the different places, because what I had forgotten is that it tracks directly, they obviously work with them to track directly like modules, campaigns that are released. So they have sections where you go into Storm King's Thunder, and they have sections where you go into Curse of Strahd, and they have, which is all kind of cool because it's, obviously I've run many of those, Tyranny of Dragons, so I've run a lot of those, and it's kind of cool to see that. That's
okay. I played that game quite intensively.
Did you? What did you think about it?
I think it's horrible.
Oh, really?
And an insult to the fan base.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
like,
why do you think that?
I started playing when they announced, when they included Minsk into the game. I was like, yeah, okay, it's free to play. Might as well give it a try. If I don't like it, I can still stop playing. Like, the only reason I got some enjoyment out of this game was because I played it with my best friend. And we got a kick out of making fun of this game.
Okay. So what,
like,
you making fun of the lore?
Movie
Or like what? Were you making fun of the lore? Like, what was it you were making fun
No,
of?
like making fun of everything in the game, like the bad game design, the obvious, oh my god. Did you play the campaign written by Salvatore in the game? With the vampire drow.
Yeah, Icewind Dale-ish type, like Drizzt and stuff?
No,
I haven't yet.
No,
I've only just started
It's like somewhere, not directly related. Like, there is like some dwarf dude who is a vampire, but a good vampire.
Oh, like some Undermountain thing or whatever.
And he is like one of Bruenor's dudes, and it's just so stupid.
It's not good.
It's not good. Like, there was one single campaign in the game that I liked, and that one was way too short. Like, it was something about a beholder in a castle, and like there's so much recycling of, like, you have like literally part of like one campaign is literally just old areas recycled, put in like with new monsters in there.
Oh, that's not cool.
And,
I mean, but I mean, it has been out for a long time, so maybe that means they fixed it. I don't know.
That was like 2 years ago.
Oh, I see. Because I mean, I liked, because it was Turbine, or I think, that designed it, and it's the same people that did Lord of the Rings Online, and I do like Lord of the Rings Online because it's Lord of the Rings. But it's just still so fetch-questy.
You are thinking of D&D Online, not of Neverwinter Online.
No, but Neverwinter also was done by a lot of the same devs, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're right. D&D Online was another thing. Actually, D&D Online did a lot with Eberron also. But that D&D Online, the problem with D&D Online, honestly, that I tried to play is that you get into a dungeon, and if you played with anybody, literally, unless it was just, like close friends, they would just run through the dungeon and do everything, and you're just standing there, and you're like, why? And they're like, well, we got to run this for.
Any MMO, basically.
Yeah, because they're like, we want to run yeah, but the thing is, like, I want to read the story, like, especially if I play that, right? Like, it's about the lore. I don't want to sit there and like have the whole thing pass me by so I can get 100 XP repeat. Like, I'm not, so it was
that's
not.
not gonna happen in MMOs.
Yeah.
Like, I tried, I did play D&D Online for a while with like a very close friend group of mine, so it was really cool. Like, we played our tabletop characters basically, just
cool.
like, versions of them anyway, so that was nice, but like suffers from the same problems that a lot of MMOs do. It's just like bad quest design.
Right.
It's just like fetch quests and gather X of Y quests and stuff like that.
It is hard. Yep.
Boring dungeons, and I'm not a fan of dungeons in general, which is kind of ironic given how big of a D&D fan I am. But bear with me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, like, there's and that, one of the ways to get around that is having things that are more like Knights of the Old Republic did a pretty good job of this, where they could, or just, I guess, Star Wars The Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars The Old Republic did a pretty good job at having single.
Yeah, that one was pretty okay.
Pretty okay.
Like, still an MMO.
But still, right, exactly. And the worst parts of it are still the fetch questy things, so it's like, you did run the dungeon that Gary Gygax narrated before I quit too. Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, okay. So I last called this. So right now, folks, we've got 4 things with votes. We've got Tolkien Middle-earth Quest with 5, Forgotten Realms with 3, and then Superhero and Way of the Tiger Ninjas is tied at 1. Can I encourage people to one of the Superhero or Way of the Tiger to change their vote to the other so that we can have a nice, clear three-way thing?
Wait, I haven't voted yet.
Oh, you haven't voted? Well, then get your vote in.
Well, you know what I'm voting for, so.
Okay. So there you go. So that's the Dragonspear is also. Oh, I thought that was you. That was Dragonspear. Also
That was the
voted
wrong sign.
Forgotten Realms. Okay, so we got Tolkien and Forgotten Realms. Those ones are definitely going to go through to the final vote round here. But we have to figure out between the superhero game book and the Way of the Tiger Ninjas one. Those are the two ones that we have to decide about. So whoever voted for, and I can actually tell you who it was.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Shit.
You could change vote. What were you going to do?
There.
Ah, okay, there we go.
There.
So Tolkien, Forgotten Realms, and this. Got it. All right. And then we will close the poll. Okay. So now, new poll.
Everybody wants Tolkien, so rip me.
All right. So
I can't handle Watson's hair.
okay. Tolkien, Middle Earth Quest.
How old is Watson anyway?
He's got to be in his late 50s, I think.
Oh, okay, so like maybe not the most luscious logs anymore.
I mean, unless, you know, he's just one of those lucky people that it always works out for him. I mean, there are unicorns like that exist.
I think there's a reason why he's always depicted wearing a bowler hat.
I see. I see. Quite possible. Okay, so I put
He had
them.
a dinner table, so no bowler hat for him.
That's true.
Wear a hat at the table.
In the rough order. Okay, so now we've got Tolkien, Middle Earth Quest, Forgotten Realms game book, or superhero game book. All right, chat. So now we're going to get this down to the top two. Top two vote getters will go to the final round. Top two vote getters. Tolkien, Middle Earth Quest versus Forgotten Realms versus superhero game book. I love how in this mix, which was automatically generated by YouTube, as Terry pointed out, we have the national anthem of USSR coming out next. British military music by the national anthem of the USSR. The Soviet Union national anthem is not really the British military music.
Not?
By any logic. You love the USSR national anthem? But, okay, I mean, I guess, you know. All right, Tolkien Middle Earth Quest. It's so good, though. All right, we'll leave it. All right, we're going to last call this. Right now, it looks like I'm not even going to need to have a final round, because it looks like we're looking between Tolkien and Forgotten Realms, so this may be the final round already. No, that's totally different, Beautiful Bear. I understand supporting for the anthem does not mean support for the country at the time. Oh, look at Aradinel. Aradinel wanted that last vote. He wanted that last final vote. Oh, man. It made The Hunt for Red October so much better. True. Big fan of that movie. Also, I really have always liked Crimson Tide. Mostly just because you get to see Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman being badasses with each other in the same film. So that's always good. I watched the other day, though, I want to say 2 weeks ago, I saw on Amazon Prime a movie I'd never watched before, which was the K-12 Widowmaker with Harrison Ford and Liam Neeson. And I have to say, that is not a great movie, even with Liam Neeson and Harrison Ford doing their best to save it. It's just not a good script. And, man, it's disappointing.
Wait, what movie?
K-12 Widowmaker. It was about a Soviet sub, based on a true story about a Soviet sub, and then everything went wrong, and lots of people died, and yeah. Okay, here we go. There's the Soviet Union anthem. Very dramatic. God, the YouTube picture has a picture of the entire world, and then superimposed over it is a star with a hammer and sickle. Good God. Not so much. Liam Neeson from Airplane. Oh, God, yeah. Not Leslie Nielsen. All right, we're going to close this poll. Okay. So, unfortunately, Superhero Game Book did not make it into the final group. So that leaves us with the final vote, people. Forgotten Realms or Tolkien Middle-earth Quest. And go. You have a choice. Tolkien Middle-earth Quest or Forgotten Realms Game Book.
I want some of this food.
that you're making. I know. The timing. All right, then Terry, you're gonna have a choice. You will have a choice to make, which is which of the 4 of these will you actually of the books that I have that are Middle Earth / Tolkien will you choose?
Okay.
I got some of these books back in the mid-'80s. Alright, we're gonna last call. I do remember the Grey Poupon commercials. Pardon me, do you have any Grey Poupon? They held all the they held everything like this. You know, like with the bottom of that was the big joke. And like you would pull up in like some car and then just gradually shift the mustard across the way. Doesn't the tub at the bottom look like the Grey? Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
What about the tub?
The tub that you have at the bottom looks like the old Grey Poupon mustard jar, but that's because the Grey Poupon mustard jar was imitating the old style Victorian jars. That's why.
I don't know.
Well, one thing that's good about playing this theme is that it's protected the channel from Russian bots for a couple weeks, so that's good. They're like, you are one of us. Okay. Jeez, it's extremely dramatic. It could act as a vocal trigger to invite more Russian bots. That's quite possible. All right. Going once. Russian bot comes in. Ah, das vidanya, comrade. Yeah. And then from there to Irish. I was born in a Dublin street. No, 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 no. All right. Going once. Going twice. And the winner is... Tolkien Middle-earth Quest is the winner. All right. So we're going to be doing Tolkien Middle-earth Quest. Now,
Okay, show me the books.
this one is going to be your choice, Terry. So I have 2 Middle-earth quests and 2 Tolkien quests. And I think the big difference between them... Actually, I don't know what the big... I think they just were the same series. They're all by Iron Crowns. It doesn't really matter. So, here are the choices. Choice number 1, Treason at Helm's Deep. And the description is, you were a young warrior of Rohan. On the eve of battle, you witness a veteran rider conferring with an archenemy. Is the rider a traitor or a counter-spy passing false information to your foes? You resolve to find out and immediately plunge into adventures beyond your wildest imaginings. You must do battle with Saruman's minions and defend the walls of the Hornburg at the climactic Battle of Helm's Deep. Alright, so that's choice number 1. Choice number 2, The Mines of Moria. Middle-earth Quest, Mines of Moria. The War of the Ring is over, but the evils of the past linger. Bram, a dwarf whose family hails from Moria, asks you to undertake a dangerous quest. In the long-abandoned caves of Moria lies a document which proves the family's claim to lands usurped by a wicked rival. Can you retrieve it? The family wishes to restore its dignity, honor, and wealth. Any riches found along the way are yours. Word of this mission, however, has reached the dwarf usurper who threatens to kill anyone challenging his claim. Can you outwit his schemes, restore the family lands, and seize a fortune of your own? All right, so that's Mines of Moria. Well, we got 2 more.
Partially towards dwarfs or anything.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You got. So we're saying that one right now is ahead of Helm's Deep. So we'll put Helm's Deep away. All right, 2 more. The Legend of Weathertop. All right. The War of the Ring is over, but evil things live on. High on Weathertop, the ancient and revered site known as Amansul, orcs gather to attack travelers on the Great East Road. Within the peak lies a secret passage to the deeps, great caverns beneath the earth guarded by fearsome denizens. In one cavern lies the legendary Staff of Truth, powerful relic of the Edain. A riddle leads you to search for the magic weapon which promises great powers. Can you solve the riddle, find the staff, and escape with your life?
Staff of Truth,
The Staff of Truth.
not the Stick of Truth.
The Stick of Truth, yes. This is a little bit ahead of time, though. So we found out what they stole it from. I got this for 95 cents from my used bookstore back in 1980 something. All right, so there's that. Legend of Weathertop. And the last one is, now this one's going to be, I assume that's not going to be as, it sounds like from Terry's reaction, she still loves the Dwarves one. So here's the last one. This one is solid as an entry. Knight of the Nazgul. And also, I happen to really like that picture. I don't know if you can see that, Terry. So it's like, so you got the Nazgul up there, right? But you've got, I love that picture of the, I think it's a hobbit basically, like hiding behind the bush.
Yeah, that's a hobbit.
It's a cool picture though. This time is just before the War of the Ring. The Shire is in grave danger. You are sitting in the prancing pony at Bree when a tall, hooded stranger motions for you to join him in the shadows at the rear of the inn. The man called Strider puts before you a dangerous but vital proposition: to warn the hobbits of the Shire of the imminent arrival of the Black Riders, fierce evil spirits who threaten all good folk. Can you measure up to the task and cross the Brandywine to warn the hobbits in time? Big Boss says, I have to see Terry's Nazgul.
Like, I want to draw some hobbits. Bring it.
So, yeah, they said, actually, here, let me put up my webcam here. Because they literally just said they want to see you doing Nazgul. So there are your choices, Terry. You got Mines of Moria. And we probably, if you like this, can do this one next.
Give me the Nazgul.
The Nazgul. All right, chat. There you go. Knight of the Nazgul. Chat is very excited about this. They're like, what? Knight of the Nazgul? That's it, chat. Let me show you the big screen of it again. Knight of the Nazgul. Tolkien Quest. Yeah. I think what happened, actually, I remember what happened. They had to change the name of the series because someone got a little upset about the rights. So they changed it, I think, from Middle-earth role-playing to Tolkien role-playing, something like that. Had to do with licensing. Well, I love Aragorn. I'd love to go back to Khazad-dûm. Well, I mean, listen, we also will be able to go back. So one of the cool things, and I don't entirely know how to do this yet, but I'll have to look at it. I'm going to big screen it here as well. So in this book came a map. And basically you can see it's like a hex map, right? And so depending on the map, the hex you chose, that was the entry you went into. So you could basically explore the map, and there were two sides to it. So you could basically explore the map, and that would affect what it was that you would actually go to, which was a cool little addition, I think, to it. And in the character record, you've got like stat value, like strength, agility, intelligence. You have endurance. You have skills like melee, missile, running, general, trickery, perception, magical. So basically what I'm saying is our Fighting Fantasy Gamebook things is probably not going to be able to handle... Well, maybe it will. It might have a hard time handling some of these things. We will see. But you can't go back to Khazad-dûm. It's now a Starbucks. Coven, I also wanted to... Yeah, there's one sequence where there's like a Nazgul. Where is Baggins? Oh, nice. I'm so excited. That's great. Okay, so we'll be doing Night of the Nazgul for our gamebook session next time, which will be great. Now, nice. I see what you did there. So the one thing I want to mention to everybody about Tolkien, as Terry's, it's actually good that this worked out this way because it gave Terry more time to do this awesome drawing that has a lot to it. She's like, details of these things. Yes, I will change the stream header when we get there. We're not going to start the stream. We're not going to start it today because we're only going to be on for another 20 minutes. But we will, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to go back to what you said, Coven, about Tolkien. The reason that Tolkien is considered the patriarch of fantasy, it is certainly true, as I have discussed with Amal and with many others during the Tolkien streams, the Adventure Middle-earth streams and others. It is certainly true that there were many people before who would have represented fantasy from which Tolkien would have drawn influence. Spenser, the Fairy Queen, Chaucer's Canterbury Tales definitely had fantastical elements within them. Dante's Inferno, even Milton's Paradise Lost.
Yes, the Bible fanfiction.
Yeah.
Insert Bible fanfiction.
I like the idea of as fan fiction. I like that.
Well, it is. Not just Inferno is self-insert Bible fanfiction. Like, there's no way around it. It's literally what it is. Like,
I think speaking of which, I think there is actually a Bible choose your own adventure book that I've seen in a store once, which is so tempting, except no. Like, I teach at St. John's, people. There are limits to what I can get away with. But anyway, so there are definitely many people that had deep influences on it. Shakespeare, The Tempest, and like there's numerous examples of sort of fantastical elements that existed in the past. However, the reason that Tolkien is widely considered the patriarch of Western fantasy is because before Tolkien took it on and went out of his way to create, and that's what he was doing, he and C.S. Lewis and several of the other Inklings were trying to create British fantasy that was not sort of Norman import, right? Like everyone always talks about King Arthur, but that was taken from the French, right? I mean, that's Mort d'Arthur and all these. That's all French stuff that's imported to the from the continent. And as we can currently see with current political situations, the last thing we want is any European contagion in Britain. So it's not about their stuff. They wanted Anglo-Saxon, honest to God fantasy, Beowulfish, but jumped forward into somewhat later future. And so Tolkien.
Takes place in Denmark.
And so, say that again.
Beowulf takes place in Denmark, doesn't it?
Yes, but Beowulf, but he translated Beowulf though, and so a lot of people thought of that as kind of a British thing, but again, not a British tale. So, The Lord of the Rings was his attempt to do that, and of course he had already written The Hobbit. The thing that makes it so powerful is the fact that Tolkien was a gifted academic who was had an endowed chair at Oxford. This guy was a legit academic. He was not just some, sort of two-bit hack writer that people could easily dismiss. You can't dismiss a guy like that. And he approached The Lord of the Rings in an academic and very serious way. And it was his languages that he had built, that the world was really built to support the languages, but either way, the thematic understanding of what's going on there, the depth of what he writes, it's hard to explain how separate it appeared from all of the kind of light-hearted, goofy stuff that, from the point of view of a lot of people, had preceded it, especially in the 20th century. You just don't have, on the fantasy side, anything of that level in the 20th century that has that kind of an impact. And when Tolkien comes out, there's just this enormous impact that it has on the field. Tolkien then goes through a period of time, which I think he's starting to come out of again, thankfully, where people think that it's trendy to criticize him. And they're like, oh, let's talk about all the things Tolkien doesn't do well, blah, blah, blah. Except a lot of the complaints that people make are about, frankly, and Terry knows how much I love D&D.
Tropes that are not even in the Lord of the Rings.
Right, and it's exactly, and you know how much I'm with you. I love the Forgotten Realms also, and Ed Greenwood is a good friend, I consider now. It's hard that I can even say that. My 10-year-old self is like geeking out about it, but I can say that. He's a good friend, and I Forgotten Realms is amazing. But in fairness, all of those things are, have lots of derivative aspects that are taken from Tolkien. I think Ed would be the first to admit that he was influenced by it heavily. And so a lot of the complaints that people had are about things that have nothing to do with Tolkien, but about people that imitated Tolkien later. And so if you go back to the original Tolkien, a lot of that stuff was not there. Also, other criticisms, I think, are unreasonable. The idea that he just portrays one form of good and one form of evil is absolute nonsense. I'm going to be teaching Lord of the Rings starting in 2 days, so this always bothers me. Like, he has multiple different kinds of evil, multiple different kinds of good. He's a lot more complex, I think, than people give him credit for. And so I think we've come out on the other side of it. And it's not to say that there's perfection there. There are issues, certainly, with certain, portrayals, especially of what some writers would refer to as colorism. Some of that does come into play, although not as much as I think they think it does, but it does come into play somewhat. And he has to be held to account. There are not as many female roles as you would like, but I would point out that a lot of the female roles that he does have are very powerful ones. Éowyn is a tremendously important character, like enormously important, but he doesn't have nearly as many of those. I think he actually represents a rather diverse Middle-earth in terms of what the Fellowship represents, because the Fellowship is itself composed of all of the races working together, overcoming racial hatreds, a la Legolas and Gimli, elves versus dwarves, and all that kind of stuff. And Galadriel, exactly, Coven guy. So, there are... Again, I'm not saying that he had tons and tons of them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with his work. But in general, I think his work is just towering genius that had a profound effect because of the timing, because of what he intended to do with it, because of his own profile as an academic. And as you see people coming back to it, I think it's because they go back and they're like, no, he really did think through lots of this stuff. And that's very, very powerful as well. Okay, let me jump back
Well, and
here.
like also,
Yeah, please,
especially
Terry.
because like so many, like other authors tried to copy his style and
Right.
just didn't copy the parts that people actually were excited about. It's always about the surface
Yep.
level stuff. You know, it's like orcs and elves and dwarves, but no, it's like about the underlying themes, like friendship and camaraderie
Yes. And redemption.
the death of magic and
Yep.
and all those things.
100%.
And also, like that the hero doesn't, like that the hero fails in the end. Like that never happens really.
Yep.
Like
Very well said, Terry. That's 100% true.
only, like the whole quest only succeeds because one of the evil guys has a literal misstep.
Right. And
Yeah.
that too is very important thematically because in a way it is of course considered the sort of the birth of at least 20th century heroic fantasy, but in a lot of ways what happens at the end, as you point out, is a misstep. You know, Frodo does not heroically throw the ring. Frodo fails. Part of what makes that book so powerful is the fact that he talks about the idea that failure is itself not the end state, right? Like it doesn't end in failure because his mercy towards Gollum earlier in the book is what enables Gollum even to be there at the end, and to be able to do what he does. Hell, even Sam, who most of the book is frankly kind of provincial and, you know, doesn't handle Gollum well at all. In fact, makes Gollum somewhat more Gollum-like because of Sam's reaction to him. And yet even Sam at the end spares him. And it's because of that this happens. So a lot of wonderful moments that come up as a result of it. So
Like the whole bit about how there is no fairy tale happy ending. Like, yeah, sure, the big bad guy is gone and dead, but like everybody comes out of this with like huge, horrible scars.
bittersweet.
That's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Frodo, you know, and that's why the Scouring of the Shire is such an important chapter. I understand why they couldn't include it in the movie, but man, Scouring of the Shire is so important because, as Frodo says, the Shire has been saved, but not for me. And, like, that's such a powerful moment because there are consequences to war. And Tolkien knew that because he saw all of his friends, literally all of his friends, die in the trenches in World War I when he's, 18. And then he has to watch his son go off to fight in World War II. So this is a person who knew about the consequences of war. I mean, God. And not to mention, by the way, take a look at Tolkien's answer to the German publisher that wanted to know if he was Aryan and whether he has any of Jewish derivation, because they were obligated to do that by the Nazis. And Tolkien's letter just basically hammers them, just basically like, I wish I were Jewish because the incredible artistic gifts of that people and blah, blah, blah. But if you ever ask me this again, I will he just destroys them basically in this letter. It's great. And, that was Tolkien. He was a really interesting guy. Again, not perfect, but he was also a very good father. Everyone always talked about he was a very good father, good professor. A lot to recommend. Online course. Oh man. Unfortunately, Dragon, I think that might conflict a little bit with the actual course that I teach at St. John's in it. But if you ever have a chance, I'm always happy to talk about Tolkien, as Terry knows. Like Terry and I, this is how I got Terry to do it, because I asked Terry, as I asked all the players, what is your, on a scale of I wish I never had to read this guy in high school, to which of my Valar tattoos would you like to see first? What is it? And she's like, well, which tattoo of the three? Something like that. She was basically, she was a huge Tolkien fan, as was everyone in the group.
This is so ironic that you say that because I do have a Forgotten Realms tattoo.
Well, that's fine.
Forgotten Realms didn't make the cut.
It didn't make the cut for that one. No, that's true. But no, I really wanted fans for this, and that's why it's been so great. This campaign has been playing with these wonderful players and friends who also love Tolkien. So, only criticism I agree with is Tolkien be very verbose, which I enjoy. Oh, sure. But see, I totally agree with that. And I would never say that Tolkien's sort of like speed of writing, he's not a thriller writer, right? But his writing has great elemental power, and I would point out the reason that he spends so much time in the Shire at the beginning of the book is because you need to know what you're fighting for. When Frodo and Sam at the end are like, why are we fighting? Why are we going up the Mount Doom and all this, the slog of those last few pages? They're doing that because they are fighting for the Shire, and Tolkien has established for you the green and like how important it is. And that's why he spends the time on it, so... Right, exactly. But see, that's what I mean, though. His ideological leanings and conservatism are somewhat up for debate, I think, Beautiful Bear. I mean, he was a devout Catholic, and so clearly he's going to have a religious view there. But he really, unlike Lewis, who kind of hits you over the head with his Christianity, Tolkien does not do that to the same degree. And it's subtle because you have other people that, you know, what do you do with some of the creatures, and that what do you do with a character like Gollum? You know, there is no redemption for Gollum exactly, but he's the most, arguably the linchpin on which the whole War of the Ring turns, you know, so what do you do with him? Lots of sci-fi work by then. Scientists just lean like fantasy had to come from an academic with his background. Right, I think that's fair, Genly. Oh, who knows, Big Boss? Who knows? Yeah, Silmarillion is great for setting up all that backstory too, Coven, and making that as well. Yeah, for true, Ardenal. Yep, exactly.
I think I'm done. Like, I could do more, but honestly...
Oh, always Twitch live stream. It would be fun to do like a book club thing sometime and just talk about like a Tolkien retrospective, because I mean I could talk about him all day, so that would be really cool. All right, let's take a look at this amazing illustration. I love it. I also like her expression, which is kind of like right? It's kind of a what do you think he's saying in that picture?
Oh, some bullshit.
Some bullshit.
Like, I'm gonna like you are so full of shit, but I'm a well-behaved lady, so I'm just gonna play along.
That's awesome. Oh man, I love it. That's really, really cool. All right, so there was that and that. It was Hold It.
Yeah.
And then it was the other one. But listen, that feast one took a long time. Got a lot of details. We got a lot of stuff going on and all of that. So Terry is always great at subtle expression. I agree. It's pretty awesome. Oh yeah, of course, Coven. Yeah, he would admit that too. I mean, he was that. Even the fact that there were 7 books in the series. I mean, it's all over the place for sure. Anyway, that is super awesome. So we had two really good ones, and we got a lot of good pictures out of Lady Abigail Esterhazy Smith.
Oh God, so many. Wait.
Yeah, show us a little bit of this retrospective in the next couple minutes.
I need to like figure out my windows here.
Okay. Also, I noticed as we were doing these, Terry, that your focus was, I remember that one, this letter is utterly useless.
You just need to like put them in the right order. Wait.
Right, there's the eagle. Yep.
Wait, okay, so that was, wait, and I need to zoom out.
Watson, before I get a slip. Watson versus Holmes.
So that was like our first character design. That's like the first thing we always do.
Yeah.
So, and then there was like some argument that Watson and Holmes said, and Abby was standing by. Wait, I'm so glad that I put like the actual date I drew this on. Wait, so that was, this is the next one. That was the first one, the warm-up drawing.
Because we started these like back in...
February?
Okay, wow. So February through September.
Mm-hmm. So that was a warm-up, and then... Oh God, what was that again? I forgot. Oh, right. Well, with the horse doping or poisoning or something.
That's right. And we were trying to explain it. And she's like, this is the one where it was just not right. I feel like we just didn't get any of it right. She's like, I love the expression, by the way, of the horse. The horse is like in the thought bubble. The horse is like, what are you talking about? The horse is so mad. Also, Beautiful Bear, you're 100% right about that. I have no disagreement with any of that. Totally true. Oh, that was the dude. Right. That was the bartender.
Was it? No. That was like the drunk.
Oh no, that was the stable hand. Maybe was it the stable hand?
Something like that.
Do you know that looks a little bit? Actually, this is funny. Let me see if I can show. Here, keep that picture up for a minute.
Okay.
This is completely coincidental, but I was going through this. I'm going to be bringing this to my office. This is a picture of my father.
Oh, wait, let me see. Huh.
It just reminds me of him.
Yes, with the dimpled chin and stuff.
Yep. And if he had this, and if he had the sideburns, which he did have at one time, had the sideburns.
Different type of glasses, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, looks like me without the facial hair. Yeah.
Is it?
I guess so. He, I think I looked probably a little more like my mother than my father, but yeah. I was just thinking about him. He's been gone for he will have been gone for 21 years this year, and my mother will have been gone for 10, which is very hard to imagine. It's one of those things you think about as you reach different milestones in your life, and you're like, oh man. So yeah. Accidentally drew his dad. Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. Anyway, okay, so then we had case solved.
Yes, it was like the tutorial, basically, right? Then the set is the next one. Ah, yes, it was a warm-up drawing. Was just like imagining her in a winter garden, having afternoon tea.
Yep.
And smoking stuff.
I like the fact that later on she got a lot more like aggressive, you know.
Yeah, well, because she isn't smoking in the other ones.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Sir, stuff to chill.
So we had nothing kind of mellowed out at that time.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, what was that about?
That was the one where she was trying to figure out, like, do calculations, and she had no idea because we kept getting low rolls. Oh God, I forgot about that.
I also forgot.
Oh, Tara, you have to do like a can you like a frame? You know what I mean? She's a meme now. Exactly, Big Boss. You have to do like a combination thing, like on like you can tweet out or something that has like a list of these because these are great. I love this. Oh man, I forgot about that one totally.
Oh, another meme.
Right, exactly.
And we got the letter and completely fumbled our role to like investigate the letter.
You're like, I have no idea. You got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense. Oh man.
I was feeling very memey that day.
And then that's the letter is utterly useless.
Yeah.
I have the smile too. This letter is utterly useless.
Yeah.
This will have no effect. Oh man.
It was a silly day. And then we had that one. That was last time. That was a warm-up drawing.
Ah.
Yes.
The Sherlock Holmes hat.
Yeah. It's like, that's a stupid hat. Mine is way prettier.
What is that hat?
Huge flower on it.
You would buy a small PDF book of all the drawings she's done for the year for the stream. You know, it's an interesting thought. That's something that would be interesting, like a kind of retrospective, Terry, like a game book illustrations, like years in the life of game book illustration or something, you know, that has like a list of like has the drawings collected. That would be pretty.
Yeah, but then I would need to like redraw everything and like proper because like these are all done under time pressure.
No, because then you're not doing it the way that it was intended. You did this during the stream. Yeah, you do not have to redraw those. The whole point is like how you did it at the time. You could draw like the cover really nicely if you want, but like the whole point of it is to be this is how it looked. You know?
Maybe.
It's interesting to think about.
This was the sexy. Like that was the theme for this.
Yeah, that was the sexy picture where you were like, "This is where you were trying to flirt." So like, this is her version of flirting, and you were like, "Okay." And so we somehow got into this thing about how she would flirt, and her version was with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, instead of a rose.
Be well, Genli. Please keep us posted. Don't be a stranger, and we're glad that we were able to distract you. Hopefully, I hope everything works out, man. Good luck, dude.
And then, last but not least, we had the Golden Eagle.
The Golden Eagle, which never got stolen, by the way.
Which never got stolen.
Never got stolen. These were great. Terry, I really enjoyed these. I'm glad we were able to do this, and I'm excited for Tolkien Quest. I'm excited to do that. It's gonna be good times. Where will the amazing? So you folks should be following Terry everywhere and doing all the things. Where will the amazing people see you next, Terry, and where can they find you online, etc.?
Well, over here as per usual. Not sure when the next. No, I can't say next Lord of the Rings stream anymore.
They're all Tolkien Tuesdays.
They're all Lord of the Rings streams.
Tolkien Tuesdays.
Yes. So now you also need to do like on the other Tuesdays a thing that's always Tolkien.
Well, I think so I guess the Patreon fueled game of the month will have to be something Tolkien, chat. I guess we'll have to think about that. Okay, see you, Echo.
So, like, what could you play? You could play, what's the name? Oh God, what was the name? Battle for Middle Earth? Battle in Middle Earth?
There's War of the Ring. There's the,
You know, the one that doesn't work anymore.
Oh God, yeah, I don't even remember what that's
I
called
always
now.
see my boyfriend complaining about that because he loves that game, but it doesn't run on his new PC.
Oh,
And
really?
there's no like GOG version or anything. That's like they never put it like for online buying, and it's
You should have him ask that question in the Discord though, because I bet Dragon Spear could get that running. There's some people on there who do stuff like that all the time, and I bet Dragon could figure out a way to do it.
yeah, probably. Like he is not very tech savvy.
He could probably. I think
He's an
Dragon could,
electrician, like you would think, right? But no.
not very tech savvy.
No, I'm the tech savvy one, which doesn't bode well. Like, I mean, I have like some basic knowledge, but like, you know, I can't, like, I know how to like take a PC apart and back together, but that's it. Basically, I know how to Google things. That's my brain
Okay.
strength.
Well, listen, your own
Step.
fault for falling for a a keyboardist who isn't tech savvy. I mean, listen, you have no one to blame but yourself, really. You know. Yes, I am tech savvy. No, Dragon Spear can probably help. He just can't help you if you do anything relating to No One Lives Forever without the game crashing. But I'm just kidding, Dragon. I love you. But Googling is my superpower. Okay, so they will be able to see you for, I think Adventures of Middle Earth is actually coming up next Tuesday, but we'll have to double check on Discord to make sure. I don't remember exactly. But you will see Terry back here for that, and you'll see her, of course, in October for the Tolkien Quest gamebook illustration. But in the meantime, where can they find you off stream?
October
Like,
already.
where can they follow you?
This year is passing so quickly. Like it's already fall.
I
Like,
know, isn't that
like
crazy?
It's old spring. Like summer barely started. Really weird.
I know.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Like, I mean, I haven't been super active in social media lately, like for the past few months or so. Like, basically, like half a year now. Oof. Like since winter. But yeah, like occasionally I post things. And yeah, aside from that, I'm always here.
Yeah, I really look forward to these streams, and I'm glad we were able to do this. And I am excited for Tolkien Tuesdays, which will continue again next Tuesday. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing TariToons? And Terry, thank you as always, and I will speak to you soon.
For having me. Goodbye.
Bye. Alrighty. That is going to do it for us. Terry was great as always. And you know, as I've said, I am always like a huge fan of these streams, and I'm glad that we were able to do it again, and that we were able to get Terry back into the fold doing this again for us, because she's super talented and a really nice person, and I really enjoy these. So I'm glad that you folks had a good time as well. But that is going to do it for us for today, for this channel anyway. But we are going to be back over on GOG in about an hour at 4 p.m. Eastern for more Pen and Pixels, Pathfinder Kingmaker. And then for those of you who missed it, on Friday, we'll be back here with, I hope, Masters of the Dungeon, although we have to confirm. In fact, I'm going to put a note. I have to confirm Masters of the Dungeon for Friday. That will be happening starting at 8:30 p.m. If we don't do that, then it means that at 8:30 p.m. we will be starting instead with, we'll be continuing with Deus Ex Human Revolution. We're going to wrap that up this month one way or the other. I don't think we'll finish it on Friday, but we would do a lot of it, and then I have another 1 or 2 Deus Ex sessions programmed this month, scheduled this month, so we will be wrapping that up definitely this month. I've had a great time with Deus Ex Human Revolution. It's been really enjoyed it a lot. And then we're going to be moving back to, finally, at long last, The Witcher 3. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I have a better computer to be able to play it now than when I played it a couple of years ago. I did about half of it, so there's more that's out there, so I'm going to go back and do some more Witcher. After that, Wild Arms ACF. After that, Operencia, which is a cool game that's sort of like Might Magic X-y type style. And then Never Alone is a previous Patreon choice, which is only going to be like a session or two. That won't take long. And then Horizon Zero Dawn, and then after Horizon Zero Dawn, Sorcery Books 3 and 4. And then we will at that point think about going back into Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which would be the sequel. I definitely want to come back to the Deus Ex world. I really enjoyed this a lot. And yeah, The Witcher 3 has a few expansions, actually, Big Boss, so we will be playing through it. So it's going to be good times, definitely, down the road. But that is going to do it for me for today. I want to thank everyone, on this channel, but again, I'll be over at GOG at 4 p.m. I want to thank everyone for being awesome today, as Terry and I had fun as usual doing these streams. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Check out the YouTube at !ArvTube, the Discord at !ArvCord. Please make sure to check out the Twitter with !ArvTweets, and you can find all of this on my website, arvineleron.com. Also, you can check us out financially by supporting us in the shop, !ArvShop, where if you liked what you saw with Terry's drawings, there's a lot more of that where that came from, and you can check it out by going to the shop and getting some stuff with Terry's drawings on the shirts. It's great stuff. Of course, D&D with Infinity and Beyond stuff as well. And then, of course, we've got the other stuff that helps financially, which is, first of all, the Patreon. I mentioned before that is currently sitting at $293. It has slipped below $300. Again, I totally understand that finances are a thing. Folks have been incredibly generous, and a lot of people have jumped on board with the subs, which is a help as well. But if you're able to support the Patreon, it definitely does make a difference. I get a little bit more from that than I do from Twitch, and so the Patreon definitely helps with a lot of stuff on the channel, and you can get some cool stuff that is unique to the Patreon that you wouldn't be able to get just through doing the subs. So that would be cool if you could support that. And of course, those sub buttons, despite what I just said, you can get some unique stuff from subbing as well, including those custom sub badges and emotes, and I've been very happy to see that generosity of gift givers like Coven Guy and others. But still, we're sitting at about 52, 53 subs right now, which is great as we continue to move up the way. So hopefully we will be able to continue to push that upwards, because it definitely makes a difference in terms of the way that the channel is able to run and stuff like that. So that's going to do it for me. Much love to all of you. I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. Thank you to Aridinel and Dragonspear for their wonderful work as mods, as always. Thank you to my wonderful subscribers, Aridinel, Dragonspear, Nonstop, Coven Guy, and Red Lear. Much love to all of you. Thank you to my regulars, Angel of Light, Beautiful Bear in a Tutu, Big Boss, Commander Root, EA, Effect Life, ECAG, Electrical Longboard, Arendt, Host Me Raffle, Jagtris, Carohemd, Lurks, Mubot, I guess, Mr. Aridin, Slifaka, Stay Hydrated Bot for always keeping me just enough to be hydrated. Thank you to Thorazin, to you, Christensen, V&K, Valerian Gamer, Virgo Praz, and Zaneki Bear. Thank you all so much. It is. Inga is indeed a female dwarf. Exactly. Thank you so much to everybody. Much love. You're all lovely people, and I will see all of you wonderful people over on GOG in a little less than an hour. No raid, because we're going to go to GOG and Pen and Pixels instead in a little less than an hour. 4 p.m. I'll see you back for Pathfinder Kingmaker over there, and then I'll see you right back here on this channel Friday evening for either Masters of the Dungeon, our D&D Roundtable show, followed by Deus Ex Human Revolution, or Deus Ex Human Revolution. So I'll see you folks very soon over on GOG. Until then, thanks everyone. Thank you again to TariToons for amazing illustrations, and thank you all for being a part of this awesome stream, and I will see you lovely people soon. Until I see you next, be good to each other. Have a good one.
Fresh and new, when it all seemed clear to you, when your aim was straight and true. Were your mind untroubled by the questions in the dark, content to play your part, open pathways to your heart? Were your life untainted by a host of broken dreams, when all your acts were queens, understood all that it means? Could you have understood the way your life was bound? Did you ever wonder how you got from there to now? Oh yes, you're gonna fly away from here, where the sky grows more clear, and your problems disappear, drift away down below. Watch them go down to your friends, where the trouble never ends, and there's always just one more day left to go. give yourself a break. You can go a new direction. Life is only what you make. When it comes to your own vision, when you got to see it through, you know you